What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Banks. Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right?
Tuesday it is.
Yes, sir. What's happening, AI? How you feeling?
Hey, feeling good. What a great weekend, and what a great start to the new week. It's just,
Dude, you just got finished with your big music fest down there in Madison Live, and now we're talking about another music fest happening here in Cincinnati.
Yes, sir.
Cincinnati's on fire right now, bro.
It
Like
is.
with the amount of like just the sporting events and you see everything kind of just trickling in. Now you're seeing out of towners coming in, especially down here at the Levee. We get a lot of daycationers, all right.
Yep.
And they're all coming down here, bro. And it's all because of like the city and what we've got going on right now. And a big part of it is Tyler over here, man. Tyler Wogenstahl, man. What's going on, big dog? How you feeling?
Hey, how are you guys?
Dude,
Thank you for having me down.
For sure, man. Put that mic about it. There you go.
There we go.
Just aim it right at the mouth, and you'll be good.
All right.
So you've been in the city life for a while now. You I remember you from like Mint, right? Like way back when, working with Mercer and all that. And now you've just been swimming uphill, bro. Just I see everything you're doing. Baru, how's Baru doing?
Baru's doing great. It's in Kroger's 8451 building.
That's incredible.
So we were really excited to get a restaurant in the Central Business District. And Baru did so well, we decided to sign another lease for Vintage.
Oh, wow.
Going to be our sports bar, and it's on the corner of where Macy's used to be, across from
Holy
Saks.
cow, dude!
Yeah.
That's going to be such a power move because ironically, Cincinnati doesn't have a sports bar, right? Like, there's nothing down there to go catch a good game, and hang out, like the BW3s and like that type of atmosphere. Like, there's always been something missing downtown.
Yeah.
I swear there used to be a sports like an old school one right next to Duke Energy Center. I've never been inside it. It almost looked like a Sports Authority. Like it almost looked like a 1980s like clothing store. But I've never been in there. But that was the one thing. There's two things that Cincy's missing: Coney's after 5, and a sports bar, dude. So that's incredible, man. When's the opening for that?
So we're looking at March for that one. And the one thing we wanted to do with Vintage is our saying is spectate socially, right? So we wanted a place that was inviting to everybody, and you could gather, have lunch, happy hour, watch a game. We're going to have a live music component to it. So again, it's just getting out there and being social. And we wanted to make sure that we had a spot that could do all those things. And
For sure.
the reason why we called it Vintage is it's always hard to pick a name.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about what to do with it, and we wanted it to be a little bit more for the adults, right? And I think sometimes when you went out in Cincy a couple years ago, it was younger.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And there wasn't anything to do if you're 30 or you wanted to take your significant other out, or you were married. It just, you weren't comfortable going to one of like the college bars.
For sure.
So Vintage means of age. So we wanted to have a place that was of age, right? And,
Right.
hopefully everybody likes it.
That's incredible, man. When do you have an opening? Oh, you said March?
Yeah, it should be March.
Like right there at March Madness, man. It's like perfect.
Yeah.
And then obviously you got Lori's Roadhouse as well, which is it's become a quick staple in the city, man. Within, with first of all, moving into the location that you did is so incredible, dude. Because the venue itself, you wouldn't be able to build something like that out unless you had, unless you're planning on going, megacorp on it, right? So the venue that you guys got and how you put all this effort into turning the inside of it into like a legit country, not even a country bar, but like it's a place for live music and like what's the capacity? It's got to be what?
2,500.
Okay, 2,500 people is huge, bro. I mean, think about that. The PNC Riverbend, so their smaller one that only holds like 700, right? Something like that.
Oh, the smaller like pavilion area.
Yeah, PNC Pavilion, I think it's called.
It's definitely not 2,500. That's I mean it's under 1,000. But I mean,
Right.
the chair. I mean, it's about the seating that takes up a lot with things too.
For sure.
So the standing room really, because the standing room is going to shoulder to shoulder, and you have a different fire code situation there. So like, the seating really cuts out a person and a half.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the artists that you've already had down there. So you've had, some incredible music artists. I know Who was it? Montgomery.
Eddie Montgomery.
Yeah.
That was a wild show because one, like everybody's grew up hearing those songs.
Oh,
I
yeah.
swear, and all those, and the Whitney Houston redid his songs on The Bodyguard.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
yeah. So like
That's cool.
What
That's
was
cool.
that song? I Do or whatever it is. So no, not I Do. It's whatever the big Bodyguard song is. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
he
yeah.
sings, right? So everybody knows that. So it's funny.
And
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
having him was really cool, and he was an iconic artist. And I had his brother Eddie Montgomery play for me in Charlotte before.
closer.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, you're
so
good.
I had.
We just want them to hear you.
Yeah,
That's all,
for
that's all,
sure.
That's all.
So I had his brother Eddie play for me in Charlotte, and to have John was just awesome. But he was one of those iconic artists that were just massive in the '90s, and I meet him, super nice guy. His only stipulation was he wanted to have Pizza Hut before the show.
Oh, good for him, bro.
Okay.
So he's sitting out there on the tour bus, and he's relaxing, watching football, having pizza. And I'm like, man, this guy's getting ready to, go perform for 2,500 people. Like, how's he going to do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that real professionalism came out as soon as he hit the stage, and I was like blown away. It's by far one of the favorite live shows I've ever seen. And
Okay.
it just goes to show those guys who are performers, it's in their blood, and
Yeah.
they got it, right? It doesn't matter if they're 22 years old or 62 years old. And we've seen a lot of the artists at Laurie's Roadhouse be able to do that. We had Shenandoah perform not too long ago, and I mean, some of those guys are almost 70 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing.
The second they get on stage, man, it's like they're back in their element. Like something just switches, and then they're good to go, bro.
I can
Right.
I can definitely relate because I navigate a little differently than I do. I performed for a long time, and like off the stage is just a different vibe for me. And then when I get on, I was fronting a metal band, so like you have to put yourself in a like metal fans are expecting a certain energy that you got to bring, and bringing that out, it's a different side that's just like a keep it in the back for me, and like it comes out, and as soon as I get in front of that mic, it shows on. Let's go, and then we're done. Hugs are all let's hug the homies kind of thing. But when we're on stage, it's in people's faces, eye contact, move across the stage, make sure everyone knows that I'm paying attention, that they're in the crowd kind of thing, because I like to make eye contact with every human that's in front of me that I can. So like it was just kind of the way I navigated. But like off the stage, let's just chill. Let's eat Pizza Hut. You know what I mean? Like what it is. So I can definitely relate. And it is definitely a mental switch that you just kind of go into, and it's time to perform. And it can turn on and off. Like I definitely can relate to that, because it happens fast, because like you're doing so much before you get on that stage, and as soon as it gets on, nothing else is in your way. It's just you and the crowd, and it gets intimate for me, because like I try to really like talk to the people right in front of the stage, and like touch hands and say what's up to everybody, and like thank you for coming. You could be anywhere in the world, you're here watching me perform, and that's a feeling like I wanted them to know. I wanted them to know I cared, so I would throw stuff out on stage, throw wristbands, T-shirts, stuff, just to let them know, So, performing is one of the greatest things. Until I had my daughter, and then she became the top notch. But like, still miss the stage to a degree, because I'm putting shows on, not as much performing. But there's nothing like the stage, man. It's great. It's my favorite place, really.
I'll tell you what's cool is you mentioned that how you had that progression where you started performing, and then you kind of got more comfortable, and you learned how to put on a show.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's been cool about Laurie's Roadhouse is we brought in some big national acts, and they've sold a bunch of tickets, and these are people that may not have been playing in Cincinnati if they didn't have this venue to do it.
Right,
sure.
right.
But what it also did was it put a big stage at Laurie's Roadhouse for local bands to come in, and over the last 2 years I've got to watch some of these bands really up their game from playing on that stage. They're opening up for Eddie Montgomery, they're opening up for Diamond Rio and Tyler Farr, and then I've watched them turn into performers and get bigger and start hitting festivals. There's somebody we had him at Laurie's Roadhouse last week, Blake Tyler, and he's a local guy, lives up in Lebanon, country performer, and this guy has literally turned into a rock star in a year and a half. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? To say, hey, like, this guy was kind of shy on our stage a year and a half ago.
Sure, yeah.
And now he opened up for Bailey Zimmerman. We had him last November. And, I mean, Blake Tyler had 3,000 people in there. We had 3,000 people that night.
Wow.
And, after that, he's a rock star, right? So it's cool to see that transition.
Yeah, man.
It's cool to be a part of it too, man. Being that catalyst that's able to help the the Cincinnati artists out, right? Because like you said, Cincinnati's almost a flyover state. It's like they get a choice to either pick Indianapolis, Cincy, or Columbus, right? So it's, and then Lexington. So
they might even choose Louisville.
Yeah.
Louisville over Cincinnati. It's a pretty common thing too. So like we do get passed. We got passed for we get more artists now, but there was a time when like after the stabbing happened downtown Bogarts, like everyone skipped us for like years. I remember Brand New, I don't know if you're familiar with them, they skipped Cincinnati for years and years. Taking Back Sunday would come through, but Brand New just wouldn't, just because of that. Like, it scares bands away. They don't know what to expect when they come to Cincy. And now it's kind of becoming way more comfortable. People are coming through more often. So, I mean, I don't know if it's Joe Burrow's fault or whoever's doing it. Someone's allowing this open gate now, because there for a while we were getting skipped so often. So we would travel to Columbus or Indianapolis for the shows that we wanted to go to, because that was our scene. But now they're coming here, and it's nice to have down the street. It's not the same. Warped Tour ended. That was a big component when we grew up. Warped Tour was huge for us. But like that came to Cincy. But like outside of that, the smaller shows skip right over Cincinnati.
Yep.
It was you'd see the listing of everything. You're like, Cincinnati, no Cincy again. Like, really?
Yep.
Like, we've been waiting for you, dude.
Columbus and Louisville.
Yep. Straight up.
Got to pick one of those.
Yep. That is what it is.
But now that we got Lori's Roadhouse, man, and the location's great too, man. There's a ton of hotels around there, so you can actually go have a good time and do a little daycation right here in Cincinnati. The Lori's Roadhouse is right off of
Union Center.
Union Center, yeah, right there by IKEA and all that stuff.
Yeah.
IKEA, is that thing?
Yep, IKEA. Yeah. Well, one other thing just to touch on, as you mentioned, a lot of the shows used to skip Cincinnati, and I grew up in Cincinnati. Started working in bars and nightclubs on Main Street, and ended up working all over the country. So I've lived in Kansas City and Charlotte and Vegas and Nashville. I was all over. And
thanks for coming back here, bro. Thanks for bringing your talents back to the Natty.
Thank you very much.
Well, this was home, right? I was always really proud to be from Cincinnati.
For sure.
I've always thought Cincinnati had a different swagger than those other markets, right? Like a little bit of attitude. And if somebody asked me, where are you from? I wasn't going to say, like, I lived right outside of Columbus. I'm like, no, I lived in Cincinnati. I didn't live in Louisville. I lived in Cincinnati, and that was always a thing of pride for me.
For sure.
So when I came back into town, and the first venue I did was Lori's Roadhouse, it was cool that people embraced it and did well. But I was reading a newspaper article, and I think Cincinnati.com maybe, and it talked about Cincinnati's best music festivals, and none were in Cincinnati.
Oh, really?
And I was like, well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we need to have something in Cincinnati. And I think it's the same thing, like you mentioned, with Joe Burrows and the Bengals or the Reds right now. Cincinnati has diehard fans, right?
Yeah.
I think Cincinnati has that pride to it. So it's cool to have, a winning football team and the Reds doing well and having concerts and events that people want to go to and support.
Yeah, Taylor Swift did 2 days here, so she did two. That's huge for us. The city was crazy. Her merch trucks of selling merch. The lines were insane. So like the fact that she was willing to bring her whole package here to Cincy is huge in itself. Because she could have she could do whatever she wants, so she doesn't have to do that. So like she's gonna make money no matter what city she does. She chose to do it here, and it's nice that we can have the capacity to hold that many fans and handle it. Yeah, the traffic was crazy, and it really does struggle because it's not really built for that. Our city isn't necessarily built for that major type of a thing, but I think there's gonna be a time when it is built that way. Because we've talked about Margaritaville is coming. Things are coming to Cincinnati, so we're gonna have to build that way. The infrastructure. It's just hard to find the parking alone. The parking's hard enough down here to get everyone here. Yeah. It's crazy. They're building stuff, though.
The infrastructure, though, I know they tried bringing what was it? Some Olympics they were trying to bring down here, and one of the stipulations was you have to have a 4-lane or 5-lane highway going both directions 15 miles outside of the city. So like they did their due diligence and worked on the highways 10 years ago to get to that point now. But when it comes to parking, man, there's it's always going to be an issue in any city you get.
It is, for sure. for sure. But they are building more parking here in Newport. Things are happening by Megacorp. Like, things are popping up for more parking because, like, that is the thing. Like, Kentucky and Cincinnati here work in unison. So when you're putting events on, people are coming to Kentucky to go to back to the event to Cincinnati.
For sure.
The Levy parking garage is a prime example. So we do have parking structures in place, but we need more. Like, I know it's just insane. To get out, it's to be slow anyways, but like, it's just people don't know where to go, where to park, where people feel comfortable to park. So it's just, there's a lot that we have to shake out, but it's kind of happening all right now. So there isn't time to think about this. This is happening. So I think they are by 2026, by the time it's all shaken out, I think the Cincinnati will be fluid. Everything will be a lot more smooth than you're seeing it now in 2023, which I'm excited for because that's not that long. Time will fly and we'll be there before you know it. We'll get all the big shows, and it'll be a thing.
You know where there's plenty of place to park? Lori's Roadhouse.
Lori's Roadhouse.
We did nail the parking.
Did you?
Don't
nailed the parking?
have to
We did
worry
nail
about
the
parking
parking.
over there.
Nice. That's great. Yeah.
Well, the one thing you mentioned that, just to touch on that as well, is I think greater Cincinnati needed a little bit more solidarity between the markets.
For sure.
So, a lot of people don't come over to the Kentucky side if they live on the Ohio side and vice versa. Or, Lori's Roadhouse is in Westchester, but, that's considered, greater Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And it just, people are kind of judging Cincinnati on Cincinnati proper, when Cincinnati was really northern Kentucky, northern Cincinnati, right? Like almost all the way to Dayton.
Yeah.
So then when you take that tri-state and put it together and add, get people working for one goal, then it gets a whole lot bigger.
Right. Yeah. For sure. And it is huge. I mean, I do consider Cincinnati the tri-state. Like, this area is the tri-state. Indiana's included too. I mean, people coming down here for the casino and going to the casino. I mean, all three cities have their place in it, and especially with the music thing. Like, I understand that it's a smaller market. Cincinnati is considered a smaller market, but if a lot of people don't realize that Cincinnati, Kentucky, everything is such a commuter city, so it is a big market of people. There's just not a big market on the maps. It's not like Chicago, but like there's enough people and enough space to consider us a big market. It really can be. It's just not put on that level. I mean, I remember looking on Polestar, the Madison Theater and stuff, and just seeing like our market size, and it's just we're a small dot in the whole scheme of things. But like, really, I mean, tri-state. I mean, there's a lot of people here. It's a big market area. It's just not getting big market attention. And if it changes that way, like, and that mentality shifts, which it's starting to. I mean, obviously, if Margaritaville comes here, Jimmy Buffett obviously recognizes the growth. So if they're recognizing the growth, then the growth will happen because they're going to help, push it up. But like, if we get that, I mean, I don't think there's any cap on the size of shows we get. We'll be getting those Taylor Swifts, those Justin Biebers on the top tier performance level and on the regular, and we'll be able to handle it. I mean, Paycor, if you put stuff in Paycor, that really alleviates a lot of stress using that stadium. So there are ways to make it that the market does raise. It's just, I always thought it was kind of silly that we are such a small market. Like, they compared us to Indianapolis, and I was like, well, I feel like I go to Indianapolis all the time, and I feel like this is a much bigger market of people than Indy. Indy's a cool city, but like, I don't know. It's just, I always thought it was strange that we compared markets, but they did. They compared them. They came similar. So to me, Cincinnati is just because of the greater Cincinnati aspect, all the way to Dayton, all the way to Indiana, Kentucky. We got everybody. People travel from Lexington and Louisville to come down here for shows. So people are coming to Cincinnati for it. Like, we had to go to Louisville for metal shows and Columbus and so on and so forth. But like, now things are coming here on the regular, and there's no like fear of the show failing it as much anymore. Because I mean, I think it's a big part of it is enough. Are there enough people interested? Like, there are people, but it's hard to explain to someone outside of our area to what it's like, because a lot of people hear that Cincinnati snows half the time of the year. They think it's just cold here all the time. And I'm like, no, it's 90 right now. It doesn't. It's just the perception, and that's something. Breaking that perception and molding it to the new is crucial for us, for someone like you, for everyone that is in the entertainment industry, if you will. So,
I mean, having somebody like Tyler here too is huge, because he's investing back into the city with all these different events, and you're seeing the things that Cincinnati's missing, like the music festivals,
Yeah, that is interesting that all those festivals weren't even in Cincinnati. Did that not include Bunbury?
Well, Bunbury's not happening right now.
Yeah, but
Oh, when was this list
Last
made?
year.
Okay. I was gonna say because Bunbury is
It was all
yeah.
the best music festivals in Cincinnati that were within 4 hours.
yeah,
So,
Okay, yeah.
and I think in Cincinnati, a lot of people were conditioned that if you wanted to go to a concert, a big one, you went to Columbus.
Yeah.
If you wanted
Right.
to,
Yeah.
Louder Than Life or
Louisville,
Fort
yeah.
Castle in Louisville.
So Cincinnati kind of got conditioned for years to say, hey, like we're going to have this stuff in Cincinnati, but then you have to travel out of town.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, as residents of the tri-state, everybody needs to demand better and say, hey, we're ready for more. We're ready for more restaurants, more developments, nicer apartments, more sidewalks. And then, the other side of that is I think Cincinnati residents have to go out and support things.
For sure.
Yeah.
We got to kind of break that mold and that way of thinking that, we can only go out one day a week, or we can't buy a concert ticket if it's over $25. Like,
Yeah.
let's put the dollars that are spent in Columbus, Indy, Cleveland, Louisville back into Cincinnati.
100%.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about
Yeah,
it.
but
Anyway.
I mean, most people go to, I think it's like 2 concerts a year, 2.5. Yeah, it's less than 3 a year for your average person. Now, someone like me, you go to a lot of concerts, we go to way more. But like the average person, 2 a year seems to be about where people stop. 2 big concerts, 2 big events, and then that's all they can afford, or that's all they choose to do. That needs to be in that 4 to 5 range per person, then that would change everything. It's not a lot more, but if people did more live music, they did more, because like music will never go away. No matter, we talked off camera about AI and technologies and whatnot, and all the jobs, different things that are taken away, but live music will always have its place, because there's nothing like energy when you're watching this band or this artist perform on stage. You can't get that anywhere else other than that moment. That event is that one-time experience, and when they go to a new city, it'll be a different vibe. They're going to speak to Columbus that night. They're not speaking to Cincinnati. They're not you know what I mean? So I think the live music component, if people just, if they want to be there, they just feel like there's nothing available. They don't know when shows are happening. The promotion isn't hitting them. There's so many factors that go into this equation. But you're right. I mean, if they put more time and energy into over $25 tickets and going and seeing these people, you would be amazed how much money does come back, and the economy would grow even more, and then there would be even more happening, so more money, and it's a snowball effect, if you will.
Well, I think the market needs to support those lifestyles as well.
Okay, yeah,
For
I
sure.
think we
Yeah,
need
yeah.
Cincinnati. There's a lot of people who they go to school here, they graduate, they move to Nashville, they move to Charlotte, they move to another city. Whereas I think Cincinnati needs to do a better job of how do we continue to better the market for young people? How do we have more housing, more fun things to do, more lifestyle amenities, more things that connect with people, to where we're not losing people in other markets. We're gaining people
Right.
from other
Right.
markets.
We're retaining them. We're
That's
keeping them
right.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. You got to have them so that they feel that they take pride in where they're at, rather than looking forward to that Columbus concert. They had a great time there. They had a great time in Louisville. They had a great time at these other markets. We need to retain them, keep them in the city, and putting that money there rather than making the hour trip there to see the same artist. You know what I mean? Like, or an artist similar. So like, I mean, though Megacorp, like they're putting on a lot of shows. There's a lot of there's a lot of things happening, and it's just really like, we are seeing a little bit like the post-COVID feeling with it, but I'll drive through Newport and there's a line of cars. It's packed. So
Yeah.
I see it even if I didn't know there was a show that night. So I know they're doing their thing over there. We just need to see it on such a regular basis, and they need to understand that a Tuesday night show can do well. A Wednesday night show can do well, because everyone looks for those Thursday through that Saturday,
Right.
maybe Thursday through that Sunday, and those slots, those availabilities are hard to find in certain, like let's say they have, like, a lot of these people don't want to play in Chicago on the Tuesday. They want to play Chicago on the Saturday. They could fit that. They could come down to Cincinnati on that Tuesday, and they could do it. I think they would do well, but we need to get that mentality to where you can go to a show that's not on a weekend. You don't have to look forward to the weekend. You can find entertainment any night of the week and get out there at a decent time to get home to your family and get home to bed or whatever. Because a lot of people are afraid, I get out of the concert really late, this and this and this. I mean, the fear is that's all internal, but people have this mentality of it. But like, if a show ends at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, that's plenty of time. That's the end of it. But when I like book shows, everyone's like, oh no, like I'm trying to do Thursday night stuff, other nights of the week, and people are always like afraid of those nights unless it's a Friday, Saturday, or even a Sunday. But to me, a Sunday's no different than a weeknight. But Sundays I do okay on Sunday. When I do shows on Sundays, it's just like it just depends on the artist. It's all situational. But like, yeah, we do need to have the mental frame and the attitude toward it does need a little shift, but it also is on the artists. Because I think the artists, like locally, if they promoted it to in a certain way where they're like, hey, come out, this is going to be a good time. You don't have to be committed to all night, but have a good time. Come Tuesday nights, like rather than being an open mic night or a karaoke bar kind of night, like an actual show. I think Tuesdays and Wednesdays could do something. We're expanding that level on the city. So I'd like to see that change happen, but I don't think we're there yet. It just, who knows when that time will come, because I don't see Tuesdays and Wednesdays shows, or Thursdays for that matter. Those days are always open, Mondays too. So it's we're not there, but I do agree. If it gets there, man, you're going to see the city like light up. It's going to be on a whole new level, and we'll put us in that next level market, which is what we want, which is all we all want, a bigger market. We all want to see every artist want to come here, not be like, we can pass on Cincy. We can pass on Cincy. We're going to save the staff a date. We'll pass on Cincy. We don't want that anymore. We don't want to just be we don't need that. We'll go to Columbus. We don't want that. That's a thing of the past, and with the help of the Bengals and stuff.
So when is Lori's Roadhouse? Or do you guys do just Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Or do you guys open 7 days a week?
We're open Tuesday through Saturday right now.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And then during football season, we open up Sunday, Monday. So, yeah, it's 7.
That's awesome.
So do you do live music like only certain times, or is it like always available?
Live music every Friday, Saturday, and then sometimes we have pop-up concerts, like you mentioned, on a Wednesday or Thursday.
Cool.
We actually do line dancing on Tuesday. And
that was cool.
Line dancing, okay.
I kind of laughed about, right? And I was like, how many people are going to come out for line dancing?
Religiously, I bet you the same people are there every week, right?
There's probably 800 people there right now.
That's crazy, dude.
And, it's really cool to have an event like that on a Tuesday in Westchester, you have 800 people in that building line dancing.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. And the other thing beyond music that Lori's Roadhouse did really well was watch parties for the Bengals.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
So we have a big venue. We have giant mag walls, video screens. And everybody was so excited when the Bengals, they're winning. They're doing well. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like being at the game.
Yeah, for sure.
It was amazing. So that was awesome. So we do that as well.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So what Tyler was talking about earlier, he was saying like bring the dollars back to Cincinnati instead of going to spending them in Columbus.
Yeah.
When Taylor Swift was here, she brought the city $48 million in just that weekend alone. And that helps everybody out, right? Because they're down here. We weren't selling Taylor Swift merch, but we had a boost in sales that weekend because everyone's down here in Cincinnati, and that's how everybody eats, right? Like and just by investing right back into the city, it's gonna spread, without you even knowing it. And everyone else is gonna have a little bit more food to eat on their plate that weekend, right? So the more that we can bring to Cincinnati, the better off we're gonna be. Like. I never thought of it that way of going to Columbus, and it's like, I'm just thinking, hey, I'm just going on a vacation with the wife going down here. But no, I'm putting money into Columbus, right? Because we're going to dinner. We're going there. We're spending the $12 drinks. We got the $100 tickets or whatever. It's like there's a lot of money that ends up just disappearing out of Cincinnati's hands because the artist decided to go with Columbus over Cincy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. To get that money back, an artist has to come back here and bring that money back here.
Right.
It's literally just goes. That's definitely a good way to look at it, a great way to look at it, because as a creator myself, like I'm trying to bring everything to Cincinnati. So like I'm trying to bring them all down here. I used to do like a certain formula for my shows. I like to bring one band from out of town, then bring all the locals and let them do their thing, and then just do favors, and we would always do show swaps and whatever. That was kind of the thing back in the day, but I didn't even really think about that. As all their fans would come down here, it was pumping into our music scene. I wasn't even on my radar. I was like, I just want to bring someone else and give someone else some love from a different city, and then we'll do band swaps, and we can play there now. And so that was fun, but I didn't even think about the fact that that money that they're spending here is put in our scene that wasn't in our scene before.
Right. So when it comes to the like the festival thing, like
Yeah.
was the first of all, how did you get involved with VOA? Because VOA is that's like a national act, right?
It is. So Voices of America, the Voice of America Radio Museum is at Voice of America Park.
Okay.
And the history of the Voice of America Radio Museum is amazing. It was created right around the mid part of World War II.
Oh wow.
And the War Department needed a radio station that was strong enough to broadcast to Eastern Europe,
Mm-hmm.
to all the people who were being oppressed by the Nazis. Right?
For sure.
So we wanted to create a radio station that could broadcast all the way over there and tell people that, hey, hope is coming. Like, the Allies are going to be there. We're going to save you. And there's actually posters in the museum where you have Hitler, addressing Germany, and he's talking about the Cincinnati Liars.
Oh wow.
Because they could hear the radio station.
Wow.
And I didn't know that, right? Like, I grew up in Fairfield. I grew up in Butler County.
Mhm.
I didn't know this really cool piece of history was there.
I didn't either until now.
Yeah.
So
Fucking mind blowing.
Wow. Me too.
when we started talking about the music festival, I was like, I really like this site. And we looked at it, and we had some support from Westchester Township.
Mm-hmm.
When I say support, I mean they were like, hey, we want you to do this.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I started saying, well, I have to be able to get the artists who are willing to play this event.
Yeah.
And of course, that's hard, and it's a super competitive market, and we were able to do it. We put together a good lineup.
Incredible lineup, bro.
Yeah.
And
fantastic for sure.
the one thing that kind of goes full circle to our conversation, what we're talking about, we've been fortunate to have the support of other businesses in Cincinnati.
Right.
The Cincinnati Reds are going to be on site supporting the event. They've been helping us with marketing. Gold Star Chili is going to be on site. Fifth Third Bank's going to be on site. Kimba's going to be on site. So that's awesome to get
Yeah.
those Cincinnati brands involved in the Cincinnati Music Festival.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you got national. Like I've seen Dr. Pepper advertising it. I've seen Busch Light advertising it. So you're way out here when it comes to like reeling everybody into this small market city, bro. And that's, I'm kind of mind blown on how you are able to connect all those dots and make everything happen and get it to a point where this Voices of America thing, it looks like this event has been going on for 20 years and it seems like something that is going to be here for the next 20, right? And it's just the, like all the legwork that you're putting in on the back end is gonna fall, on opening day, man. You're really gonna be able to take a breath and say, we did this, right? Because it's, from an outside perspective, as somebody that feels like I'm very good at marketing, you're killing it, dude. You are absolutely hitting every single dot that you need to in order to make this thing successful and a reoccurring event, right?
Well, I appreciate that. That's
For sure.
exactly what we wanted to do. And I remember when I was setting, around the conference table with my team, we were talking about how to do this festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I told everybody the only way we were going to be able to make it successful is make it more than about us. Let's
sure.
do something bigger than ourselves. It's not Tyler's Music Festival. It's not Butler County's Music Festival.
Right.
It's everybody's music festival. And I feel that we've been able to market the event well because we have good partners, because we have people supporting it,
For sure.
because we're going after a lot of different causes. People are excited about it, and everybody has a common interest, saying, hey, let's go have a good time at a music festival in Ohio. Let's support some good charities. Let's do this. And in doing that, that's how we've been successful.
Right.
We had to make it about something that's bigger than us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Get everybody involved.
it's smart too. Everything you're doing is just top notch, man. Like you said, even calling it the Butler County Country Music Fest, like it would have pigeonholed it to make it sound like it's just for Butler County, right? But I mean, you got Alabama, bro. Like you got Dan and Shay. Like you got like major icons that are coming down to Cincinnati to be a part of this, dude. And it's a 4-day fest too, which isn't a small feat. Like when he does these 1-day events at Madison Live, I'm looking around and I'm seeing him run around like a chicken with his head cut off, and I'm like, I couldn't imagine 4 days of trying to run a fest.
Yeah.
And like the fencing, like you were saying earlier,
Fencing, yeah.
just getting the fencing to like keep everybody in and keep everybody out at the same time, like that's an investment on its own, bro.
Yeah, that's a
And it's like you don't think about these things, right? I've always thought about it because I've liked Echo Park over there in what is it? Mount goddamn, where Richie's bar is.
Adams.
Mount Adams, yeah. So like there's like a pavilion there that I've always, like, since I was a kid, I was like, man, this would be a really cool place to do a concert venue. But like I was 15, 16 years old, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, bro. There's everyone just walking through the woods. So how are you going to do that?
Yep.
It's like, well, you got to buy fencing. Well, you can't buy cheap fencing because people will knock it over. So you got to buy this 6 foot, 8 foot fencing that has, sandbags on the bottom. It's like, all right, I'm done. I'm done.
Right.
I'm out.
Done from the.
And you start thinking of all these funny problems that you never thought about.
Oh yeah.
We for the VOA Country Music Fest, we leased out the Voice of America Park for the actual event, and then we have Butler County Metro Parks for parking. And I was in a meeting about a month ago, and they said, how are you going to keep people from swimming in the ponds? I go, I don't know. So there's things that you have to figure out.
Yeah.
Swimming in the ponds. What a thought.
Yeah.
What
High chlorine content today.
What a thought. Yeah. What a thought. Alligators beware.
Oh,
There you go. I can make you a couple sublimated signs, little metal signs to put up there. Don't go swimming.
Don't go swimming.
Sharks.
Right.
Well, and I think the other thing
Sharks.
with these music festivals is you have to plan a year in advance.
Oh yeah.
A year and a half in advance. And when I started working on this, it kind of starts consuming you. Because I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to have a 2-day music festival. Then it goes into 3, and then it's 4, and then you want to have 10,000, then 15, then 20, and then you start getting after it. And I'm glad I started planning when I did.
For sure.
We're about 3 weeks away right now, and I mean, what I tell my team, every second counts with what we're doing, and we have a responsibility to, Westchester, Butler County, the state of Ohio, to make this look good.
For sure.
To make it good for the fans, the artists, and also just, next year.
Oh
to
yeah.
be able to do this again. So that's our goal. And it's funny, before we ever did this event, I started booking artists for next year.
Incredible.
And start planning that, because that was my thing. I didn't want to do this festival to just do it one time. I did it to get to year 2.
For sure.
That's why we do things. So it's
So when you're making these calls, like what was the did you have a list of like all these country artists that you wanted to be a part of, and you just started hitting up their reps, or
Yeah, so what we did was we started writing down all these artists on a dry erase board in the office, and I write down these big artists, Luke Combs, right?
Yeah.
Get all excited. I write down Morgan Wallen, and then we start making calls, and I say, hey, I would like to book Morgan Wallen, and then they're like, no. And I was like, okay, I'm going to cross this off the list.
yeah.
And then after you have about 9 no's, you're like, man, who am I going to get?
Yeah.
And I remember we booked Alabama. And I was like, all right, we got it. We have Alabama booked. And next thing you know, I didn't book another artist for about 3 or 4 months.
Oh wow.
Because I had to go through the process. And we had to show all the agencies that we were responsible enough, thank you very much, appreciate it, to have their artists at the festival. And we ended up booking Dan and Shay, Jake Owen, and another artist towards the end of the last summer. And I was really excited about it. And I actually went to Zach Brown concert in Puddin Bay that weekend, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to kind of kick back. I got our headliners for VOA next year. So when I'm driving back to Cincinnati, one of the headliners backed out. And I was like, oh, shit. And so I was back to square one.
Yeah.
And there's a conference in Nashville called AIBA. And it's a big buying conference where all the agents for all the artists are down there, and all the buyers go for this convention. You kind of meet people and network. And when I came back from AIBA, when I went down there, I had 3 artists. When I came back, I had like 26.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
So,
what a move.
it kind of took off.
Yeah,
And
it's awesome.
you have to sell it.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
people have to look at, you're not bullshit. You know what you're doing. And we were able to do that this year. And I guess with anything I do, I always kind of have that fear of failure.
Sure.
And, you wake up in the middle of the night and You're like, oh shit, are we going to be able to get this done?
Yeah.
It's that way with Lori's Roadhouse. I mean, I have that fear. I'm like, no one's going to show up.
Yep.
Oh,
I
yeah.
opened up Baru. I was like, man, I hope people really like the food. With Voice of America, it was that same thing. And what's cool is something happens as you're working, somebody takes notice and they're like, you're doing a good job. And you're like, wow, really?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
somebody says something looks good.
I can relate. I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
That helps. And, you know, I don't think it goes to your head, but it gives you enough currency to keep going.
Yes.
And get your shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always nice knowing that you're doing the right thing, right? Because you got your blinders on, and you're looking at August 10th, right? You're looking at I've got a like a deadline, so you're sitting here, you got your blinders on, and you're trying to get to that point, and it's nice when somebody taps you on your shoulder and goes, "Hey, dude, what you did right here is awesome. I like this," right? You're like, "Oh, cool. I was focusing right here, so I'm glad that what I'm doing now is reciprocating with everybody else." You know what I mean? And that's when you're in this, I guess when it comes to anything, when it comes to clothing or music, when you're making a song, it might be your favorite song, but you don't know how it's going to resonate with everybody else, right? So you're just in the lab just trying to make sure that what you're putting out is good enough for everyone else to hear or wear, right? So same thing with what you're doing, man. So, and I am seeing the moves that you're making and how, the employees that you're bringing on to staff it. Everyone's getting involved. I'm seeing VOA all over my Facebook page. It's just everyone's getting ready for the event, man. And it's just like we said before. It's like it's a bow and arrow. It's all in the pullback, right? And you got to make sure that you got it aimed and set, and then you let it launch, right? So, you're in it, dude, and I can't wait to see the lineup next year because, for the fact that you got Dan and Shay in Alabama on the first dry run of this concert series, as soon as next year happens, it's going to be easier to book the artists, obviously, because you've already got the trial and error, you've already had X musicians now, it's gonna be a fun ride, bro. And same thing with Bunbury, they got bought out, didn't they, after their third year?
I do think there were other people running it, but I don't know if they were continuing because of how the growth of it, and they couldn't. I'm not sure exactly why it didn't continue, but I do think there are new partners in it that were investors with it. So I don't know why it stopped. I don't have that answer.
Because they're doing Bunbury's throwing events at Megacorp, right?
Yeah, the company that did Bunbury, they are throwing other stuff. I just don't know why they stopped that festival in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it just got too big or, I remember seeing Post Malone there, and that was like...
I got to meet him there, yeah.
Swarm of people.
Yeah, I made him a Syracuse hat.
Nice.
Still haven't seen him wear it.
Mm.
Custom made with the Syracuse. It was orange bill, blue top with the Syracuse area code.
Cool. Nice.
Got a chance to meet him, give it to him, and I'm still looking at his Instagram. One day he's gonna be wearing it.
One day, just sit on the back of his tour bus.
So was Alabama was the first band you booked. Who's your most exciting musician that you booked for this event?
Well, so it's kind of a funny story.
I was gonna say big or little, man, because on moments like this, you might be able to get somebody like Blake Tyler, put him in there, and he'll be your favorite, right? Because he's the local guy that you're a part of, right? Because you're putting him in on that big stage. I don't think he's a part of it, but.
Well, no, he actually is.
Oh, dope.
We made sure he was on that lineup.
My man.
We made sure
taking
he was
care
there.
of the locals.
And when I booked this lineup, everyone wasn't like, "Hey, you are a visionary. This is an amazing lineup." Everybody went, "Yeah, we'll do it." Whatever.
Yeah.
And something happened around, I don't know, it was in the fall. No, it was November, December for the CMA Awards. So we're watching them, and I had Old Dominion. They ended up getting one of the group awards for this year.
Yeah.
And then Lainey Wilson came on super strong.
Yeah.
Just crazy. She went, skyrocketed in fame. She was also in Yellowstone. So that was awesome. Right? Watching some of these artists that we booked that, they were popular, but they weren't what they are now.
Right.
Megan Maroney was another one we booked that was just, her agent told me in the hotel lobby, she goes, "This is going to be a good one. Like, you want to book Megan Maroney," and sure enough, I mean, she's got a top 20 song right now. So it's cool to take a chance on some of those artists and then to see that lineup get better and better. I ended up getting a call from CMT, and they said, "Hey, we think you have a really good lineup." And I was like, "Really?"
Oh, okay.
You know, I was like, "That's cool."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Thanks for saying that." I was like, "Bye." And they're like, "Well, no. We think you guys actually have the best lineup, the best new lineup this year."
Oh, wow.
2023. And CMT is actually bringing the CMT Hot 20 Countdown team to the VOA Festival to film this festival. And they made us a Hot 20 festival this year. And stuff like that, so those are those surreal moments.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
where
Yeah.
you're talking to your team and you're like, "Hey, CMT is actually on site." And everybody's like, "It's crazy, like right on." So that was kind of one of those crazy moments this year during the festival when we ended up booking. It was just watching those artists grow and then just continue to get that buy-in.
For sure. That's incredible, man. Are they going to be? Are you going to be filming the whole thing? Are you gonna have like a film crew that are kind of like documenting the whole thing, or?
We are. So we have CMT is going to be on site filming, and then we also have several local photographers and videographers that are going to be filming all week.
Cool.
And I think that's great to be able to capture those moments.
Right.
But the other thing we have right now is the guests with social media. Their moments matter.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Of course, yeah.
They're going to have a great time. They're going to take a video, a photo, share it on social media, tag the festival, and I hope they're tagging us with all of the fun they have.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Right? And the flip side of that is we're going to have some stumbles. We're going to have some things that we're going to find that we need to do better in year two. And we look at feedback as a gift.
For
and
sure.
I encourage everyone who has a ticket to this music festival, if they show up and there's things we can do better, let us know. Because we want to take that information and we want to do it better next year.
Absolutely. Yeah, just watch that Woodstock documentary, man, and learn from that. Make sure you got water on stock.
Water on site for sure. I do want to ask a question. So, when you're talking about this social media like presence that you're trying to the crowd to take part in, excuse me. Is there a place? Is there a place you want to put all that content? Are you trying to send them like, "Hey, everyone, throw it on Instagram"? So, like, is there a place that you're trying to do it? Because you want to collect this stuff, you want people to be like, sharing it amongst each other. Is there a way that you can easily do that, or are you kind of like hoping that it's just gonna go like the hashtags go viral, or like some kind of like tagging goes viral, or like are you gonna have everyone send it somewhere? Because that's the thing, is like, where do you collect all the good moments from all these people rather than what you're taking in? Because you said obviously you want the social end of things to be kind of its own beast, its own thing. So what is your plan on keeping it all close to the vest?
As crazy as it sounds, I think you have to let it grow. I think,
Okay.
as you mentioned, it's an animal on itself. And I think if you have people that want to put it on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat, whatever that is,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to have that mind of its own.
Sure.
And then it's going to grow, and then it's going to be its own thing. And really what I want is it to be authentic.
Okay, yes.
Right? I want it to be authentic. I want it
For
to
sure.
be real. That way people are looking at it. There's no buyer's remorse. They're saying, "Hey, this was the experience I had at VOA," and other people can make a decision next year if they want to attend that event.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
what I want.
Yeah, organic. You want to make it so, for sure, I totally agree. It's kind of, because it's hard to find that content. When people are posting it, they're posting on their personal stuff. Obviously, we're not friends. Everyone's not friends with each other, so you can only see what you see. And the internet's, it's a powerful place in its own right. So what goes viral is not usually what you'd expect to go viral. It's just kind of,
Ever.
it's so hard to predict. And at the end of the day, you're trying to put on something in preparation for next year. And what is going to get people excited is seeing their stuff reposted. So, and seeing them that they were a part of the content. So I would definitely say, if you have the opportunity to take as much content that other people have and have fan supplied videos and just do a montage, you might see that go, like, that would go viral. People seeing their stuff posted by, the VOA, social media team or content team or whatever, however you choose to word it. But like, at the end of the day, like, people want to see their footage in that 15 seconds of fame.
That's
if you will.
always
So
that's
it's
always a
hard-
good feeling. Like when you go to like a 311 show, you film them and you put it on your Instagram reel, and then 311 repost it to
Yeah.
theirs the next day.
Yeah.
That's always a good feeling for I'm assuming for every fan, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
they acknowledged me. They saw, like, even though the video wasn't about me, the video was literally a video of him. I feel like I'm a part of it because I was the one that took the video and he
Exactly.
shared it.
Yes.
I think it's about those moments, for sure, right? Like those moments are what get people excited. We're fortunate enough this year that we have the Make-A-Wish Foundation involved in
Nice.
VOA.
Okay, that's awesome.
And they asked
That's
me
awesome.
what I wanted to do with that, and I was like, I want to help grant some wishes. And they said, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, can we grant one every day? Right? And they were like, well, yeah, like we'd love to do that. We appreciate that. What do you want from us? And I was like, nothing. I just want to be able to support this cause.
Yeah.
And so they had some kids who ended up wanting to meet some of those artists. And of course, we can't make the artists do anything, and they have to make this choice. And I was talking to my marketing team, and they were like, well, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this done to have some of these children meet these artists. And I'm like, let's try.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's put it out there.
Let's put our effort in.
Let's
Yeah.
put it out there.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yesterday, I heard that all 4 of those wishes are being done.
That's awesome.
That's
dude.
awesome, man.
And that's
Great.
when, everybody's just got to do the right thing, right? Like
Yeah.
people are going to make those choices. And it's like you said, sometimes it doesn't have to be your moment that makes it special.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to witness something else and you're going to be like, that's awesome.
That's all.
Yeah.
I was there for that.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
And that is your moment. That is your
Yeah.
moment to experience what they're experiencing. You know the joy that they're at. So that headspace, like you just being there, just knowing that person's wish is granted, and knowing that you are a part of that, even if a small percentage of the situation, you are a part of that Make-A-Wish. That's super cool, man. I've mad respect for Make-A-Wish. Whatever they've done, so many cool things. So that's awesome. Huge props for getting them involved.
We have another
Yeah.
really cool charity involved, and it's the Station Foundation. And
Okay.
I'd never heard of this charity. One of my production managers got me involved, Daniel Schlosinger. He does all our lighting design for my venues as well as the music festival. And he said, hey, come out to Virginia to this horse farm and help support this Special Forces charity that is geared towards helping Special Forces families acclimate back into the world. So rather, the dad or the mom had been deployed, or, if for some reason they've passed away, it helps the whole family, right? And I said, yeah, let me go out there, let me check this out. And I ended up going out there to this event they were doing. I donated my time and some passes to the music festival, and I met that whole crew out there, and it was just amazing, seeing what they did, hearing those stories, seeing what they, could do for that special ops community.
Yeah.
So I talked to them and I said, hey, is there any way we can support you more at VOA? And so now they're
Nice.
bringing down 2 families of Navy SEALs, one attack helicopter family down there to the music festival.
wow.
They're going to speak. They ended up getting the Army Honor Guard involved. And all those things are just cool.
That's gonna be
That
really,
is
that's gonna be
so
like
cool.
a really cool
Whoa.
interlude.
What?
You know what I mean?
That's
Like
cool,
be
yeah.
able to bring them out.
Oh, dude, that is cool. You're doing everything. That's awesome. Any other cool charity? Anything else that you're working with that we're on the topic of charities?
Who
So we-
who owns a couple rockets, bro? We need some of those F1 fighter jets flying over VOA
Yeah.
as the
That'd be epic.
as they're out there talking.
That's a good idea.
So Parachute is another charity we're working with.
Parachute.
And
Okay.
they're out of Butler County.
Okay.
And
Local.
what that charity is they provide a voice for children that needs it in the court system. And
Awesome. That's
there
That's a,
was-
that's a great name for a company too. The second you said parachute, I was like, like a soft landing, right? Like something that's like you
Yeah.
might be falling out of the sky, but we're here to help
Yeah.
you land.
Yep.
And I didn't understand it when they first told me about it. And then, when they explained it to me and told me what they did for kids that just, they may not have a parent or a guardian that can speak for them or help them when they go to court.
Mhm.
So what Parachute does is it provides legal and non-legal representation for children.
Oh, very cool.
And I mean, that's great. I think sometimes everybody needs a little bit of help sometimes, especially those little guys. And
Oh yeah.
that's just
Absolutely.
another one of these charities that it's just awesome. And we're very fortunate to be helping them at our event.
That is amazing. That's shout out for sure. So they're local. They're out of Butler, so they're local to it too. All right, wow. You never knew this was how. Like that's another thing. You're bringing light to stuff that, I mean, the viewers, the listeners are unaware. I'm sure they are. Or they may not be, but like that is something like everyone does need help to a certain degree, regardless of what your industry you're in. We don't do this alone. Everyone has somebody somewhere along the line that has helped them achieve success, and for something like that, that's pivotal. That is because giving a voice to the voiceless, man, is really important. Because some people just don't have that capability to defend themselves, to speak for themselves. Someone else has to be there representing them, and it's awesome that there are people out there locally that are doing something like that. But yeah, man, that's great. So when you were saying like your partners and everyone that's in this, are these affiliates? Are they all involved as like sponsors? Are they just going to set up booths, or is this like a thing where, I mean, are they going to be on, like you said, they're on site? The Reds are going to be on site and whatever. Are they a booth? Or this is going to be like any like giveaways or anything special going on? Or they all get to do their own thing?
Yeah, everybody does something different. So the Reds, they're going to be on site signing people up for, I want to say, their Kids Club program.
Okay.
And they're going to be selling some tickets on site. Gold Star is going to be there selling some conies. La Rosa's on site. But then there's, Arcadia Designs that's selling T-shirts for mental health awareness.
Okay,
so
nice.
It's all over the spectrum what people are doing.
Yeah.
We have Cycle Bar, who's going to be there, signing people up for Cycle Bar memberships. Stretch Lab's going to be there. There's going to be Liquid IV. They're going to be out there doing some things. So it's just, it's all over the spectrum. And it really is a community event.
I was going to say, man, it's all Cincinnati, bro. You're really just trying to help out everyone in the city, which is great, man.
I think it's good to support each other.
For sure.
Right, and I think that's how the city grows. But the funny thing is about on our map, we actually have a vendor village. Because, I mean, that's really what a festival is. You're building a village out there. And it's kind of cool once you see it all come together. And, of course, when we start planning something, I was worried that there'd be no one out there. I was like, we have to get some vendors involved. And finally, my site manager was like, hey, man, we got to stop.
Yeah.
We have too many.
There's no room, right? So I'm like, okay, we're going to have to grow it next year. So that was cool to see so many people wanting to be involved.
Right. I like how your response is, we have to grow it next year. Not, all right, we'll stop. We'll put the brakes on. You're like, no, we're actually going to grow it next year. It's going bigger. We're not going to just stop. And that mentality, I think the mentality is everything. That's so important because you're looking at it as we're in the infant stages of what it eventually will become. We're going to grow this and make it bigger. And these people that are starting here are the basis. And we're going to add on and add on and add on. And become, I mean, it's gonna take its own identity. I mean, it is already taken its own identity, I would say, from what I can tell. I didn't know any of this going into this. I know the shirt that he showed me. I know printing. I know a little bit about it. And I'm learning a lot, but like the amount of thought and process that you've put into this is amazing. It's incredibly impressive, and huge kudos to you for thinking on that level, because it is difficult. I know how to put a music festival together. I've done it, not multi-day, but I've done multi-day, but I've only 2 days. But like, festivals are their own beast. They're their own thing. Like you said, you lost the headliner. I've lost the headliner a day once before, because people get sick and things happen. But like, have to pivot, find a way, get something in, get the other headliner. I gave two sets to someone because they could do an old school set to their music and the new school. So I kind of did that once before. But like, there's ways to make it work. But yeah, man, huge kudos for the amount of the Make-A-Wish and all those different dynamics that you don't find at every music festival. I mean, at Warped Tour was probably the only place I ever saw where they get like a Voice of the Innocent there. They would give different companies
to write Love on Our Arms.
To write Love on Our Arms. Different companies that would come in and just do that, the thing. And then obviously Monster was there. Everyone got energy drinks, and skaters would be around. They had a little mini skate park and stuff. But like, stuff like this is like literally directly impacting the local community from the jump. And it's awesome. I mean, to put it together is one thing. To make a difference in people's lives is a whole nother thing, and that's cool.
It was a big deal for me to involve everyone who wanted to be involved as much as we could, and that's what I told my team. It started out with people who wanted to sell food there. I said, hey, if they want to do it, I don't want the application process to be so restrictive to where they couldn't do it.
Right.
And
Okay,
then
yeah.
they were, kind of going back and forth with me on it, and they were saying, no, you have to do it this way, and you have to take this much of your sales and all that stuff. And I said, I'm not going to do it. And so we kind of parted ways, and I, got more food vendors involved. Because
Okay,
I said,
yeah.
that's just what I want to do. These people wanted to do it. Let's do it this way. And then it was the same thing with staffing. And to me, seeing everybody that wanted to be involved, it kind of gave me a little more courage to reach out to other people. And it kind of changed my perspective on things that I maybe wouldn't have done before. It's like this brand. I've known you guys. I think you guys have great stuff in Cincinnati. It's always been something, I admired. So, I remember when I was, it was a Reds thing, right, at the Banks.
Oh,
When
yeah.
I ended up, walking up to you guys, and I saw you out there, and you were doing
Yeah.
your thing, and you guys had a promo tent, and I was like, I got to invite them. And I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
a big part of it is having to, you got to have some courage to walk up and introduce yourself and say, hey, I love what you guys do. I want to give you props, and maybe you guys want to be involved in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wholeheartedly appreciate it, man. I've been a fan of yours for years. So you coming up, because we were just down there on the banks just slinging hats, bro. And it's like, we're just here just clocking in and clocking out. So when you pop in and you're like, hey, dude, I love what you guys are doing. I'd really like for you to be a part of the VOA. It's like 100%, man. We're anything you want us for, we're here for you, dude. So and that goes across the board. If you ever need shirts made, if you ever need to get somebody on the podcast, if you need to do some sort of promotions and you need our help, like we're here for you for sure, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's say less. I mean, I think that the thing about the podcast itself is you can bring artists in here and they can speak on whatever they want to speak on. It doesn't be about music. They're obviously an artist, but there's more to life than the music. So if they want to come up here and they have something to say and some kind of foundation they're starting or something, this is a perfect place to get their word out, because who knows who's going to listen to this podcast. It kind of it goes everywhere to everybody, even though it's locally focused. I mean, people in Atlanta are listening. They are listening just because the amount of different types of people we've had on allows for the growth to kind of spread in a nice way.
Yeah,
And,
we've got some listeners in Ireland and Sri Lanka, was that the other one that was popular?
Yeah,
Strange, man.
Isn't that
Strange.
wild?
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy. We're here for it though.
we are here for it, and I think that something where you do it's a perfect like way to get some artists an extra promotion, and all you have to do is send them to the levee, and we'll sit down here and talk with them. You don't have to be here. Just let's talk music festival. Let's talk whatever they're doing. If they have like I said, a foundation that they're trying to push, or they want to help a charity out, this is a place to announce it, and let's get the ball rolling. And on top of that, we also print in house too. So like if we can make them a custom shirt from wherever they're from, native of whatever city they're in, they can get something to take home with them too. So there's a little bit of both going on here, which is nice.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's why I was so excited to get you guys involved is, again, it goes back to that Cincinnati swagger.
Yeah.
And I've always thought Native represents that very well.
I appreciate that, man.
So to be able to have that attached to our brand is it's awesome. And I think people are going to go crazy over it. It's going to be exciting.
I appreciate it, dude. We actually we're still trying to figure out how to do the booth. So we're thinking about bringing in an actual silkscreen machine. So because it's like, what do we do? Do we order 200 shirts? Do we order 500 shirts? Do we order 1,000 shirts? So we're kind of leaning towards just bringing the machine in and just printing right there, right? So we can have 200 shirts on stock, and as the smalls or larges get low, we can just start printing right there. We'll have the silkscreen machine. We can print tote bags as well. So I don't know if that's.
No, why I was laughing is the one thing I really like about this brand is you guys weren't afraid to be cool.
For sure.
You weren't afraid to push the envelope. And when we were getting our merch together for VOA, I kept on getting the proofs back from the merch designer, and it was just like boring. And I wasn't excited about it. And they were giving me real conservative designs, and I told them, I was like, hey, I own the fucking festival. We don't need to get this approved through corporate. Can we please have a cool hat? And the other day when you text me the T-shirt design for VOA, I sent it to my whole team, and I'm like, hey, check this out. And I just thought that was awesome that we had a design that we can be proud of and stand behind.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at in life. I don't want to put my name on stuff anymore that's shit.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Right.
be half-assed with it. And so I love, getting you guys involved and having that on there. I was like, all right, we got a cool T-shirt. We're good to go. I can check that off the list. So
one less stress.
Wait till you see the hologram poster we're creating, man. We're gonna do a 12 by 18 poster that's holographic. So it'll basically be the like your lineup. The sky is gonna be all hologrammed. And it'll be a limited run, so each one will be numbered. So, like, if we only do 50 of them, it'll be 1 through 50. But I think how we're gonna do it is we're gonna stagger them, so we don't sell all of them on Friday. You know, we're gonna keep 25 back for Saturday, 25 back for Sunday, whatever we have to do to make sure that it's a limited run of a very cool, like. You know, we're trying to think. It's like when you go to a concert, what do you want? Like T-shirt, obviously, right? Tote bag, things to carry stuff in. But that poster, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be trying to get autographs, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, a normal poster is cool, but being able to do like a holographic one that changes colors within the light, you know, if you're able to get that autograph, that's going to be something that's going to be on people's walls forever.
Forever, yeah.
You know what I mean? So...
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me know. Maybe we frame one, and then we'll get all the artists to sign it.
Oh, that'd be incredible,
and we'll get it
dude.
in store.
Yeah,
that'd
dude.
Be dope.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'll send you the picture real quick of what it looks like, 'cause it's pretty badass, dude. It's I'm getting good with my stuff here. And by the way, dude, I know you're a busy guy, but you seem like you're there. You know what I mean? Like you got so many things like on the fire right now. And I texted him at like 9:30 this morning. I'm like, hey, bro, what do you think about getting on the podcast tonight at 7? Love to. Let's do it. You know what I mean? It was just like,
nice.
Yeah. You know, and that was like last week. You were like, yeah, let's do it. You know, we had the big birthday bash podcast last week, but it's like, you know, you're in it, bro. You're in it to win, and you know, you gotta make sure people like you win at the end of the day, because you got your heart on your sleeve, and you're helping so many people out by putting this event on. Like, obviously the event's for Cincinnati, and it's going to put money in your pocket, but what you're doing is you're creating longevity with a lot of people, man. This, you know, the contacts that you're creating, you know, when we go there to the event, I'm sure it's going to be, you know, we're going to meet a ton of people that we've never met before. I'm sure we're going to end up getting people that are going to want to be on the podcast. So it's almost like a networking event within our own city as well, to people that, you know, I would have never have gotten contact with if it wasn't for you. So, you know, you're really connecting the dots, and you're doing a lot of legwork on the back end. That's gonna take this thing really far, man. And I can't thank you enough for even coming to our booth and saying, hey, I like what you guys do. I need you to be a part of this, bro.
I was excited about this one. I did channel 9, no, CBS yesterday, and then I had to do a Fox 19 interview this morning. Mm. And you had texted me, and I was actually setting in Fox, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I get to do a podcast tonight."
Yeah,
you know?
Nice, yeah.
And it's cool when you do a podcast because you just get to express yourself a little bit more, and you know, kind of be real and actually talk about the event and why it matters to you.
In detail, because that's the thing with me is, like, I can be really concise in 1-2 words and let's get the job done. But sometimes it's nice to just be like, lay it all out. Let's just talk about the process. Let's talk about the details. And if someone chooses to listen, that's cool. If not, then you pass on it. But like, this is the opportunity to say what we do and how we do it and and everything that goes into it. Because people don't really realize, as a concert promoter and festival promoter, anything that you're doing where people are coming to enjoy what you put on, is all the back end stuff that goes on. People in their wildest dreams don't even know what's happening. Like, I mean, how many artists I've had dropped, even for the birthday bash. I hosted on the 21st on Friday, and I mean, even a day before, I'm literally finding an acoustic opener. Not even kidding. I had 2 bands drop on me the week of because one band lost a member, can't do it anymore, can't play a show without a guitar player, and then the other one of the members was going to be out of town. He had an emergency, so he left. So those 2 bands left in right before the show happened. So I'm like, all right, what do I do? Well, I want it to be multi-genre, so I want the show to start out with acoustic and end with a guy screaming on a microphone. to go to metal.
Which
So
is
from-
what he does. I don't. He's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
a screamo.
Yeah, so I wanted to go from acoustic to metal. That was like my mentality, and upstairs was like a hip hop rap show, and that's what kind of my mentality. Like multi-genre, everyone comes, we'll find their new favorite artist, and we'll go from there. But I was like kind of limited, so I found this awesome acoustic guy who was in one of the other bands too. He played a harmonica, did an acoustic set. He crushed it. Made the show start out with like such a good warm feeling, and the rest of the night just went great. And it was like there were 40 more people there this time than last year, so the growth is great. Like any kind of growth, like all the artists had a good time. You know, people got paid. Like everyone was feeling good, and I'm on to the next one. You know what I mean? And no one's knowing that I'm on to the next thing. They just know with the event in their face. So the podcast lets them know like all the stuff that happens, and we're on to the next. Be prepared. So it's just kind of like podcasting is great because it gives you that chance. Otherwise, you're just kind of like you have to talk. You'd be really short, explain what you need, and then you're gonna go on to your own work. But I love podcasting. It's great. I'm glad you were excited, and you get interviews. So you're getting this, pretty often, and it's going to get worse for you, or better, if you will. Better or worse, however you look at it. Yeah.
It's funny too because I'm kind of an introvert, but
Okay,
podcasts are cool because you get to learn things about other people's experiences and how they did it.
Oh yeah.
And to me, I hear that and I'm like, okay, we can do that. Like this guy built an airplane, or they built a building, or they did that, and the process is the same. Right? You have an idea, you put a plan together, you build a team, right? And then you execute that, and that's how you get it done. And that's what's cool about just all the lessons you can learn from other people working with other people.
Yeah, for sure. And a huge part of that is building the right team. The team is so important to the process. I mean, I'm big on, I like connecting people, putting people in the places where they strive, they thrive, they're where they want to be, where they're passionate about. So I mean, I can do photography. I have a camera. I bought a camera for this podcast originally, actually, but I'm not here to take the photos. I'm here to do other things. So I'll bring in a friend that's a really good photographer. Let him take care of it. Let him bring in a couple of his photographer homies, and we can get a few photographers now all getting their opportunity because I bring in a really good dude that's going to bring in other good people. So like it's kind of you're working with each other, but at the same time everyone's gaining, everyone's winning in the situation. So the more W's and the less L's that we're dealing with because more people are involved, and it's fun to do stuff with other people. It's more enjoyable for me to have other people to celebrate with, to enjoy the wins with, to talk about the losses with. You know what I mean? So I enjoy a team. I enjoy putting it together. I think it's important. So I definitely can relate there too. But in that same thought, like having a team, like it means the next year when it comes around, when you have a team for the first one, the next one comes around, they've been thinking on it too, because they were a part of the first one. So like, well, I want to be more involved in this next one. So the next year is even better because that team has got a little bit of wind into their sail. So
well, you can feel it in the air when you have a team and they all start getting on the same page and they have a common goal.
Yeah,
that's when they start getting after it, right? You can just tell like they're there earlier, they're staying later. They're focused on what they're doing. They're not messing around.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And I was having dinner and some cocktails with my culinary director last week, and we were talking about everything we have coming up this year and, how we've kind of been busting our butts and we've been working a lot and how the festival's coming up.
Sure.
And I told him, I said, you know what I'm really excited about? That we get a good fight, right? Like we get that good ass-kicking weekend that we get to go balls to the wall and just, go after it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of people have that when it comes to you build that team. It makes it not so scary.
Yeah.
Right? Because this person's doing marketing, this person's on ticketing, this person's on production, and everybody's on their shit. And then you have confidence to go out there and press it. Right?
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
I think that's really cool when you're on a project and you feel that. And especially when you do an event, you're planning and it builds and it's stressful and then everybody's yelling at each other and this person's crying and next thing you know,
yeah,
it's Saturday night and it's 10 o'clock and everybody's they got their phone out and they're taping the artist on the stage and you're like, we did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
You get that high five and you get that that feeling, and it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
And that's why I do this stuff, right? That's that feeling, and it's a long climb to get to that peak, but when you're there, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. Whenever I've thrown an event, I've never had that like moment, right? Like every time I'm always panicking in the middle of it, and that's because I don't have like a huge team behind me doing the stuff. So I'm usually running around trying to get the shit done.
Yeah.
And it's like the day of is like usually my worst day, bro. It's like it's where all the wires are frayed, and like I can't comprehend anything. I can't get anything done because I'm worried about this or juggling all that.
Yeah, micromanaging it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
But when it comes to an event like this, like obviously this is going to be a huge turnout. So what do you say to Dan and Shay when they had such a good time and they go, I want to come back next year? You know what I mean? Do you leave it on the table, or do you say, hey, volume 2 is gonna be cool, but you're gonna have to wait for volume 3?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just kind of what you do when you put together a good package. But it's funny, Frank Ray, Matt Stell, Dalton Dover all played at Laurie's Roadhouse.
Oh, dope.
Actually, Jody Messina played at Laurie's Roadhouse. And I had a conversation with Jody Messina, and I said, hey, I'm going to put on a festival next year. You want to play it? She's like, I'll play your festival.
Hell yeah.
And that's kind of that tentative approval where somebody says, put it together and we'll think about it.
Yeah.
But it's cool when you go full circle and you actually make it happen.
100%.
Yeah.
Frank Ray was one of my first artists in Laurie's Roadhouse, and I booked him twice. And so when I had the opportunity to book Frank Ray at the festival, one, he's a great artist, but I almost felt like I needed to pay it back to.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's the position that you're in.
Way.
You're able to put the locals up on a platform with people that have been doing it for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like Alabama's been around forever. That's the best part about having the podcast here in the window, man, is everyone's walking by going, what the hell are they doing?
Right. It took a
Putting
stumble.
on a show.
Yeah, put on a show.
Oh, yeah. And that was, so we had a store in Kenwood Mall for Christmas time the year before last. They hated the podcast. They didn't want it in the window. They didn't want the microphones in the window. They didn't want any of it, bro. So when we finally were building this out, the levy was like, oh, this is where you want it? Yeah, we'll build the stage for you. It's like, that's what I'm talking about, dude. Somebody that sees it and goes, we don't need more mannequins on the windows for clothing display. Like, let's do the podcast and put it right up in the window here. And for us, like, people walk in all day and they go, what do you guys do here? It's like, well, we interview local natives. If you got a business or if you're a musician or you got an event coming up, we'd like to interview you. And right away, it's like they want to be interviewed or they know somebody wants to be interviewed. So it breaks open that jar of mayonnaise, bro. And it's just like, you're able just to get in, and it's like it just breaks open that conversation right off the bat, where it's like we're not like the normal stores that come in and tell you come buy our clothes. You know what I mean? Like, we get a bunch of these rugrats that come in and they hang out and they talk and they tell us their issues and their problems and their parents' issues, and it's just like we're here for it all, man.
Yeah,
because
cool. That's part of being a tribe, right?
100%, dude. And that's the thing. We were kids once, and it was like we were. I still remember my store that I used to go to, and I used to say, "Man, one day I'm gonna be able to buy that jersey." Right? Same thing with you with Cosmic.
That's the thing, is I used to go to the Florida Mall and hang out at the store called Cosmic, and they would let me hang out and just kind of work on like under the table here and there, whatever, and help them out. And I got to know the culture, but it was very hangout culture. There was like a half pipe in the back of the store that kind of held some merchandise around it and stuff, and we'd all just hang out there, and they did no problem with us, just chilling. My one of the GM of the store, Daniel, he'd be like, Daniel Rickard, shout out, bro. Still love you, man. He's selling cars these days, doing his thing. He's a little one now and stuff. He's doing great. But at the time, he's like, man, come on in, bring all your friends, come hang out. I'm like, really? Just hang out? And he's like, yeah, man, hang out. And at the time, I used to like run up walls and do a bunch of backflips and just do all that fun stuff. But like, they just the mall, I think some of the tenants didn't like me because I would like run up their walls and stuff. But he would always like, Andrew, please come back. Please. I went here every day. Come through. I'm like, I would come through, and I'd bring all my friends, and they would just let us hang out, and we would talk, and we'd do our thing. And I didn't realize that all my friends would start buying all this clothing. Now, growing up, I realized, hey, it was a great business move for them, that it was hangout culture. But I wanted that same mentality to be here. And I worked for Macy's for 4 years, a bunch of different jobs there, and I saw that culture, and I just wanted to go kind of away from that culture and more of a free, open hangout. We have a chair by the desk up here that people can sit and talk with us. It was very similar there. So that's
Used
kind
to
of
be a couch, bro. We had to shrink it down.
Used to be a couch, yeah. People got comfortable sitting on the couch, a little too comfortable, and it became catch-all. We didn't want things just sitting on it, so we're gonna move that on and make that a place to make money. And you get the one chair, and people come and sit and they'll talk and they'll just tell us about their problems, and we'll listen. If they want advice, we'll talk back. We'll give our 2 cents, and when we move on, but they're comfortable enough to come in and sit down for a couple minutes to a couple of hours. It really varies for everyone, and that comfortability is that's hard to come by. It's nice to have, and I really love that the people that come in here, and I've made some of my greatest friends now that are coming in all the time just to say what's up. I mean, I didn't know Yaman for anything,
right.
And now, I mean, Yaman and I do a sports podcast on Wednesday nights, so it's like something out of nothing. You know what I mean? It's awesome. It's a great feeling, and I'm so happy. And I feel like we're just getting started. I've said that many times. I feel like we're just getting started here. So it's a dream come true, really. We making things happen. And from back in the Florence malls to going to the Mad Hatter and watch these metal shows to back to the Florence Mall and for everyone to go home to this is just it's awesome.
Well, you don't always see yourself like, rewind 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You never would have saw yourself here.
Right.
It was the same thing when I signed the lease for Vintage. That's in the former Macy's.
That's incredible, dude. That location's so good.
I'm looking at those windows, and I'm in there, and I'm like, I just leased Macy's.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
how's this happen? Right?
That's amazing.
So,
that's cool. That's
yeah, and it's one
cool.
of those things like growing up in Cincinnati, how many times did I walk by that department store? You're looking at that, and it's like, wow, that's downtown Cincinnati.
That is.
So when I saw that building empty, I was like, we got to put something in it.
Fountain Square.
Bro, that used to be my move. I used to go downtown. I would swing into Macy's, and then I would pop out the rest of the night.
Spray yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I had to be at the Macy's store at like 5 a.m. Like I was helping open the store there for a while, and like open the dock up, get them all set, then go up to the marketing team, work with the marketing ladies. I did that every single morning, being there at 5 a.m. I mean, I didn't love it. I didn't love getting up that early to go there and sell clothing like that, and at the time, but I knew that it was good for me and what I was trying to do at the period. And without that situation, I mean, I wrote a song about Macy's actually because it was a bad ending, so I had to put that out on lyrics. But yeah, man, it really taught me a lot. Macy's taught me a lot, and they get their credit where it's due. But I did want to go the opposite direction when coming with this store, with the culture at least. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's super cool. I mean, that's full circle here, at least this podcast. Yeah.
You talk about, you going into Macy's and giving a little spray, and
yeah.
Everybody's kind of got that embarrassing Macy's story, and so it wouldn't be a good podcast if I didn't tell you guys a funny story.
Yeah, tell us.
So, growing up in Cincinnati, I think everybody used to go out, party a little bit too much, have too many cocktails. I was living in Louisville at the time, running a couple bars down there, and I'd always be excited when I got to come back to Cincinnati. So I went out one night, got way too drunk at the bar, woke up in the hotel, and I didn't have a shirt. And it wasn't the hotel that I had initially got a room in.
Oh, shit.
So I'm downtown. I'm looking around for my shirt, right? I have like shoes, jeans, everything but a shirt. So I remember checking out of that hotel, and I put a towel around my shoulders. And I had to walk into Macy's without a shirt on, get a shirt, and buy the shirt. And all while you're trying to act like nonchalant about it.
Like it's a big deal.
just like you're a little model.
Yeah.
I'm like,
with the beach towel around
I'm
you.
like, I'd like to get this polo, please. So
can I wear this out?
Right. Do you think this looks good on me? Can I put it? I'll just put it on right now.
I will always remember that Macy's for that story. For sure.
That's awesome.
That is.
And now you own the bitch.
Yeah.
That's a full circle. No,
that's
I will
a full
never
circle.
be topless in there again.
You'll
that
never.
Was the last time. Yeah.
That's quite a story. Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome, man.
So,
that's such a good location too, bro. Like the fact that Tiffany's didn't stay down there blows my mind, man. It's like I get it. Like Kenwood, they moved to Kenwood, right? Did they?
Tiffany's in
Kenwood.
They did. Tiffany's in Kenwood. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was like one of those things, man, where it's like, you've got Saks on Fifth Avenue in Cincinnati. It's like, what downtown cities is Saks Fifth Avenue on Fifth Avenue? It's a rarity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, the fact that they closed up, I was like, what is happening down here? And then Tiffany's, I get it. Tiffany's wants to go to Kenwood because they've got the Louis store. They got the Gucci store. They're trying to, like,
Yeah.
act accordingly or whatever.
But I think it goes back to that tribe we talked about, right? Like I think we're going to build back the city. We're going to put other concepts and other things in there, and then hopefully the residents support the things that open up.
Hey, is the mall still there?
It's not.
Okay.
All that's gone, and I think 3CDC's done a great job trying to make sure that those empty buildings get filled back up.
For sure.
I had a meeting about a new convention center that's being built downtown in the next couple years. They're building that new hotel. And all those things are just going to continue to improve what's available downtown.
Oh, 100%.
Having a better convention center. And
it's kind of crazy that they're building on the East End, right? Like, over there by the FC Stadium, when there's so much available right where you got your vintage. Because like right there on Fountain Square, man, there's Rock Bottom Brewery. So who just bought those guys out?
I think that's Thunderdome.
There was
Thunderdome. Yeah, they're in Kruger's Tavern, Bakersfield.
There was Manu posted those photos of a new place opening up right there. I can't remember the name of it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways,
Thunderdome.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity right there on Fountain Square, man. Like right there in the heart of it, and it's like you get every time musicians come in town. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the hotel right across from Fountain Square. Like DJ Scribble's a good friend of mine. So when he was in town, we're hanging out at his hotel, and he's got this corner suite that just overlooks Fountain Square, and he's just blown away because it was like during I think that night it was like salsa on the square or whatever it was, and he was like, "What is going on, dude? There's like 500 people out there, all square dancing or all salsa dancing."
Yeah.
It's just like one of those things, man, where it's like it's all right there. Like everything is just the heart of Cincinnati is right there, and of course they're getting better deals probably going like over by FC Stadium to rebuild that. But
yeah, I
mean you're talking right in the core of the city, bro. So if they're building everything right around you, like, man, you're sitting on a gold mine there. Like I said, especially with having a sports bar, because that's one thing that Cincy's missing is somewhere where you can just go watch the football game.
We're going to build that synergy back.
Yeah.
It's the more things that open, the more synergy we have. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a break for a second because I had a bunch of water. So I will be right back.
For sure.
Yes,
we got some stuff to talk about.
Yep. Well, we can have them.
There was like 5 things that I was telling you about earlier.
The Harambe's.
That's Cincinnati Harambe's.
The arena football team is, I think, something we should talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
I would say that's something that if you're paying attention right now, I'm glad you are, because this arena football team coming to Cincinnati is about to, if you get an arena football team, that means someone's looking for growth in Cincy, and if it can become the Cincinnati Harambe's, legendary, bro.
Yeah.
The biggest team that'll probably ever come out of any city on a merch front, because everyone's going to want to.
And that's the crazy thing. So I as soon as that happened, I went home and I made a little flyer that said Cincinnati Harambe's, and it had the background was an arena football stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted it online, and it's got over 700 shares.
Wow.
Which I'd obviously like Facebook, bro. Like I used to murder it on Facebook. Like I used to get 100 shares on 70 shares on like most of the stuff that I do. Now it's crickets, bro. So the fact that the Native brand was able to pull out over 700 shares on that, and the sales are reciprocating, so we're seeing sales on our website because of it. But the impressive thing, bro, is the comments that I'm seeing. It's like, no, they didn't. I can't wait for it. Like, I'm definitely buying the jersey. And, like, somebody else tagging somebody, and they're like, can't wait to see the jersey. Got to get the jersey. But, like, take my money. It's just like, man, it's like all over Harambe, bro, which is crazy to think.
That is, it is. We should make jerseys.
Definitely. Definitely. All hustle. We're going to go to All Hustle for it.
Yeah. I just really hope that they are considering that option for a name and a mascot for the arena football.
So here's what I'm thinking.
Color change will happen.
The only way that they're going to think it's a good idea is if they have if they speak with us, because if they don't speak with us, they're gonna assume somebody else owns it.
Yes.
We're gonna have to pay them every single time a jersey's sold, every single time we're talked about, and obviously that would be nice. I don't want to lose sales on our Harambe stuff or get kicked out of the Harambe lane because they open up, right? But you know what I mean? Like if
we can work with them. I mean,
100%,
we
bro.
partner there, and that's
we're the t-shirt guys.
Yeah.
Like we can literally print the merch for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's such a good name. Such a good name, bro. Like the Cincinnati Harambes. It doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't, and it represents the city so well, and it's an easy logo to get behind.
Bro, right now we're the most popular team to never play a sport. What if we played a sport? We would murder it.
And even on top of that, like the fact that it did in fact happen here, so the history of the situation along with the team, the whole story will come full circle, and we'll even put Cincinnati more on the map. It's just it's got to happen. Maybe we should reach out to them. Maybe we should be like, hey man, you see how much internet traction we've got over this. We'd love to talk about numbers, and we'd love to see if it's a possibility. I mean, I'm not sure if they've come up with a name. I'm sure they have a really good idea of a name without even announcing it, because they can't. I mean, if you're gonna come with a sports team, they're probably gonna have 5 to 6 solid names and logos involved before they make a decision, or they might already have one made and it doesn't matter.
I want to hear what Tyler thinks about this, bro. So the Cincinnati Harambes, right? Like I made that logo 7 years ago when Harambe died, and the reason why I made that logo was there was a petition going around trying to change the Cincinnati Bengals to the Cincinnati Harambes, and it had over 12,000 signatures. So Ray Malaluga, I was friends with him at the time, and he was like, "Hey, bro, you should make a logo just in case this thing grows legs," right? So I made the logo. It didn't go anywhere, but to this day, that's still our #1 shirt. Like I've got photos all over the world, people wearing it. And last week they just announced that Cincinnati's getting an arena football team, right? So I put it out there in the atmosphere. I said, hey, let's call them the Cincinnati Harambes. And it's got over 700 shares and 200 comments on it. And basically everybody's like, I want the jersey. Like, take my money. You know what I mean? Like the hype is really there. So now if you were on that side of the fence, if you own the Arena Football League, would you consider naming it the Cincinnati Harambes if a clothing store in the city already owns the Cincinnati Harambes?
In my opinion, I think you have to give people what they want, right? To a certain degree.
Absolutely.
As long as it makes sense, it aligns with your values, the team's values, I think it's there. So, and I think that it's very... I mean, everybody in Cincinnati knows that story. They know what happened.
Dude, and everybody across the world does. It's insane. When people come here, they see the shirt and they go, what is Harambe? And I say it's Harambe. They're like, oh, shit, the gorilla? It's like, I didn't know he was from Cincinnati. Like, even people here in Cincinnati didn't know he was from Cincinnati. So, like, like I said, I've got photos of people wearing the shirt in Japan, like out in the middle of the street. So it's super cool to see that, like, it's more than just a Cincinnati thing. It's a worldwide thing.
I remember I had girls working for me in Charlotte who had the Harambe shirts.
Oh, dope.
And I was like, Cincinnati? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, I was in Cincinnati.
Yeah, dude. And that, he's a legend, man. He's a legend. And I wholeheartedly think it's such a good idea to name it the Cincinnati Harambes. As long as it doesn't take any food off our table, right? Like I'm willing to, hey, if we can be the ones to print the stuff, like I'd be all for it, right? But I just think that there's a lot of longevity in that too, man.
Yeah. I think our only hurdle is letting them know that we're open for collaboration or working with them, that we're not trying to just milk off the money.
Right.
If we make it known to them, we let them know, like, hey, you should just put this in your thought process. We are interested. We're not trying to gouge you for money, but we want to be involved, and we'd like to work with the Native brand and make it happen. If we put it out there, then I think they would.
You know what we should do?
Consider it.
We should tell them, because like you said, you're probably right. They probably have six names already. Or actually, you said that 6 names already picked out. Just tell them, hey, put Cincinnati Harambe's in the
hat.
and then post it online and then see what people think. And I just that name alone would blow that post up.
See, if they do that, they already know the answer is going to be Harambe. As soon as you see that as an option,
right?
You don't even read the rest of them. You're like, all right, well, anything, it doesn't even matter. If I see the Harambes,
I just need validation that we're doing good. That's all.
I know. But I mean, I had a lady come in one time. I'll tell the story real quick. She came in and she teaches Skype piano lessons to people all over the world. And she was like, I've got this little boy in Spain, I think. Spain or Peru, somewhere down south. And she's like, he loves Harambe. And when he found out Harambe, because he didn't realize what happened to Harambe, and when he found out, he lost his mind. It was a very sad day. I explained to him that happens, and she's like, but he is so obsessed with Harambe. And she was in the store telling me about it. She's like, I need this shirt because I'm about to mail this down to him. And we had masks, so I gave her a couple of masks.
Oh yeah, I remember
that Jackie made. Yeah. And I gave her the masks and all these different things. And she's like, this little boy is obsessed with Harambe, and he is on another part of the world, and he knows about Harambe. And the fact that it reaches that far and it affects people, even young people, to that degree, I just can't see a loss in name in a team after that. And like he said, give the people what they want.
Yeah.
It's very simple. We live in that society now. Give the people what they want behind the scenes. If they want behind the scenes, Taylor Swift's on behind the scenes. She can do whatever she wants, but she's like, you know what? They want behind the scenes. I'm going to give my fans what they want. And she's at the top of the world. So if those artists are willing to do something on this scale, I do think a fan-voted situation, a fan driven situation is exactly what it needs. And we're in an open market. It's not like Cincinnati's expected to be the number one like arena football team or anything. Like, yeah, the Bengals are here. We have that. But to bring something like that in, that will light this city on fire just like the Bengals are doing on a different scale.
They would sell so many jerseys worldwide, bro. It would be insane.
It would. We should send them a nicely worded email.
You guys got my vote.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's huge. But
season tickets, bro. Just give me season tickets so we can give them away and here at the.
Yeah, we'll do a scavenger hunt.
Speaking of that, bro, if there's 2 extra tickets available, like we can set up a scavenger hunt, like for the VOA. We did it before. We printed metal cards, right? So we stuck them in different places in the city, and it was almost like the card said, VOA Country Music Fest, and then on the back it had the clue to the next spot. So we had it set up around here where I think one of the clues was like 10,000 faces, and there was a photo booth in here that said 10,000 faces on it. So you went in the photo booth. Underneath the seat, the metal card was stuck to it. So you pull it off, and then you get another clue to try to find the next stop. But we like doing fun stuff like that here, man, because it's easy for us to print like metal VIP cards, things like that. So, and then we had actually the final card was sitting right there on the little piece of glass, and we had people that they were here that night trying to find it, and they finally found the card when the store was closed. So they came back the next day at like 9:30 in the morning. We didn't open till noon, so they sat there for 2.5 hours waiting for us to open so they can grab the card and get their tickets to the Suicide Boys.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was
great. But scavenger hunts, man, people love that shit, dude. Yeah. Especially if you can make it fun like that. We put some of them down at like the Cincy art museum over there.
Yeah.
So,
it's museum center too.
Yeah.
And we just want to do something where people can get involved and they don't have to sign up for anything. They don't have to fill out paperwork or spend any money. They just get to find it and find their way to the store and get a prize. And we work with Madison Theater now. We're like a lot of people work with tickets, so we're gonna do a bunch more of this fall. We're gonna do quite a few scavenger hunts, and I think that's just something that you just don't find everywhere. You know what I mean? And we're trying to, think outside the box, of course, because we've got this space here, but people are looking for something to excite them, and we do the same thing. And if we can be a little part of that, because I want to start the scavenger hunt across city and go to the different major regions of greater Cincinnati, like we talked about. Maybe send to Mainstrasse, maybe send to the Banks, Mount Adams. Like everyone can kind of collab together. I think that's the ultimate greater Cincinnati scavenger hunt. We went to Blacklist in Indiana because we did all 3 states because we went all over. We would decide that. So I'd like to do much the same. But yeah, it's fun. So maybe we could do something with VOA tickets. Maybe like do a little scavenger hunt and get in preparation for that, because it's definitely effective and it gets people talking.
No, I'd love it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, we could definitely make that happen. So when you're in this moment right now, you said just a few weeks away, right? So where is your head in this moment outside the podcast? You're not stressed? You seem very relaxed. You've got a huge concert coming up, and you seem like you're about to kick back and watch some football. So
it looks like he's got a good team behind him, is what it is.
Yeah.
It is. If I didn't have it put together now, we wouldn't have it.
For sure. Absolutely. Well, yeah. It would have. It was months ago. But I mean, but you're not. You're so calm after all this stuff that's happening. I
kind of have a joke, and I joke about this with some of my partners and then my team. I was stressed a month ago, right? That's when I was stressed out, and then you get to the point where you got to move past that.
For sure.
And I think the bad thing is with stress is it paralyzes people, and they don't make decisions. And I'm in a position where I have to talk to people. I have to give people time and attention. People on my team, people who are vendors, people who are, relying on my businesses to do well so they can go home, pay the rent, feed their families, whatever that is. And so that gives me kind of that jolt of, don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when you kind of come to that conclusion, when you're like, I can't fail at this, I have to make this work. It's not a choice. We have to do this.
It just is.
It changes things, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like that in our restaurants too. If I walk in one of our restaurants and something's not going well or we're having a slow night, that kind of gives me the incentive to say, hey, I got to get this fixed. I got to make sure we get this fixed.
Yeah, for sure.
It can be something as small as, hey, Baru has a broken oven and it's, causing that team to do more work. Or, hey, we got to get the security plan together for the VOA festival. So it is. I mean, you just got to have to manage that stuff. And I think the movie The Martian said it best when Matt Damon at the end of the movie said, it's about solving problems.
Oh, yeah.
And if you solve enough problems, you get to go home.
Yeah.
That's the truth, too, man. All he's trying to do is just grow some fruit out there. Is that what he's doing? Right. Trying to grow some plants?
Solve the problem.
And I'm in that mode right now.
Okay.
And I've kind of learned along the way, I've been a director role and the leadership role for a long time. And what that's about is really helping your team.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you have to be able to do. And if you don't have your shit together, I can't help my team.
Yeah. If you're not cool, calm, and collected, they're not gonna be cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everybody's seen those movies, right? Where the football team, everybody's getting all amped up. Everybody's like yelling and screaming, and they're like that all the time. I mean, that's contagious.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
so
yeah.
When you're on a team, it doesn't matter if you're in an office, what organization it is. If you're sad, everybody's sad. If you're freaking out and mad, everybody's mad. So you got to make sure, you're going to carry yourself how you want your team to carry things.
100%.
Projecting it, because projection is a huge thing with humans. If you're sad, everyone's going to know you're sad. If you see you're happy, you're going to project happiness. People are going to resonate with you in that same emotion. So you're right, for sure. I mean, to me, I keep stress on the inside, and I just kind of like navigate, and you would never tell if I was stressed or not unless it gets really to the point where I'm like, all right, we need to talk this through, because I'm to the point where I don't see the solution, and I need to find a way to find it. So I'll outwardly like, hey, this needs to happen. But otherwise, I try to keep calm as well, and then give what needs to be done and knock things off problem after problem after problem, and then go down my list and then see what I can achieve that day. And I try to do one thing every single day for whatever I'm working on, even if it's a small thing. Let's say it's a day like everyone's off the books, it's Sunday, no one's doing anything. Even if it means I need to do a little work on a logo or something, just something small, maybe edit a photo for it, I'll just get something done minorly. And I think it's important because it helps me like, all right, a little bit towards the ultimate goal. I'm far enough out, let's get it done. So I think working in smaller micro doses is really important for me, because it gets me in the right headspace, and then I can go home feeling, all right, I put my effort in today, let's get this done. But I work kind of late, like I'm kind of a night owl, so I'll do a lot of my stuff after the midnight hour. I'll like get to thinking on my stuff, and then Then I'm up in the morning. I have a daughter, so she's up at 8 in the morning. So no matter what happens, we're getting up. But I'll get it done, and the next day brings something new, because tomorrow's always a new day. You know, if it's a bad day, think to the next, because that something good can come tomorrow and fix the previous day's problem and the day before that's problem. Yeah. So.
Well, and you know what your responsibilities are.
Yeah.
Right. You know when you get up, when you go to bed at night, when you get up in the morning and you look in that mirror, did you do it? You know, did you get it done? And I know my grandpa was a really big influence in my life. Hardworking guy. He's just kind of one of those salt of the earth guys from Ohio who worked hard his whole life. Seemed like he checked every box and didn't do any of the bad stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so just somebody to really look up to. And at his funeral, you know, there was a poem, and it was talking about that man in the mirror. And the gist of the poem is, you know, you can walk around and you can fool everybody, right? But if you can't go home and look in the mirror and be happy with what you're doing, you know, you're not gonna be happy.
For sure.
Right. And that's the one you have to answer to at the end of the day. And I think that's any projects that we're on is you got to be satisfied with what you're doing and what you've done, and how you do it, how you get it done. You know, one thing that I learned along the way working for other people doing events, there's a bad way to do events. There's some bad ways to do business, right? Where you know nobody's getting anything done, and you know you're having a lot of turnover and things just aren't working out. And I got to observe these ways of doing things early on in my career. So now that I have my own organization, I was able to take some of the bad stuff and leave it behind, and you know help my team and say, hey, we're not going to do it this way, and I'm going to stop you before it gets there.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it. You know, I want people to have a good experience with what they're doing.
Right.
And be proud of it. And I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen it too, and been involved in stuff, and you're like, man, there's a better way. There's a better way to do this, and that was what I tried to do with the music festival, was cut out some of the bullshit that I know wouldn't work, that people didn't want. And I said, let's cut to the good stuff. So
that's your trial and error, man. You've been in the league for a long time, right? So you know what works, what doesn't, what to cut off, what to, you know, this is just a waste of time. This is going to be a headache. This is going to work. Implement this. Double down on that. You know, you've been around long enough. You know how Cincinnati works, and how when the people come out, you know what I mean. Like you know the whole nine. You know. The clientele to the back end to the musician, so you've got it all locked in, man. And I can see it, and I can right away I could tell that you've got all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted, right? Like, and that's how you got to go about the business, and you gotta surround yourself with people. If you don't know how to do one thing, hire somebody or bring somebody on that knows how to do it, right? That's what we're trying to figure out here, man. There's only 3 of us here that are running the whole ship, and it's like, how do we balance this where we can bring other people on and turn this thing into more than just a clothing store, right?
I've said a long time that if you have a big team, you have big success.
Yeah.
Right. If the organization's going the way it's supposed to, and it's healthy, and everybody's operating with good intent, you're going to be successful with that. And then the more smart people who are creative you put in a room, you're gonna have some big ideas come out of that.
Oh yeah.
Right. So that's kind of been my philosophy with my organization is, let's build this big team.
Yeah.
Let's build this team. Let's empower them to make decisions, come up with some good ideas, and then kind of surprise me. That's what I want. I want somebody to come to me and say, hey, I got an idea and I want to do this.
There's nothing better than somebody else bringing an idea to you and you go, God, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there's nothing better than when you come to me and you're like, we should do this. And I'm like, fuck yeah, we should do that. God damn, bro. I didn't think of that earlier.
Hey, bro.
You know?
We got a lot of ideas, man. We're coming up, but I think of this store as not only just a clothing store and a podcast station, a place where we deliver cool stuff, but it's also a think tank. We sit here and we get to think and we get to plan and do cool, fun stuff, but we're also doing stuff for our community, and we're able to think greater than just the store walls and the levee even. We get to bring the outside and we get to bring it into our world, and that is one of the most enjoyable and, quite frankly, fun parts of the job. It's just fun to just be able to think about outside this box and how can we get this box to be like in everyone's brains bigger, but we still have the walls don't change. It's just the environment. It changes because people come in and bring their own world in here. People come in. I mean, we've done these like people come in here in the lab and they do a whole events, and like it has nothing to do with the store. They don't necessarily purchase things, but they're bringing their event into our world and merging their world with ours. And I think that is just beautiful. It's just something that you just can't do everywhere. They're not here to boost our sales and boost our promo. They're just using our thoughts and what we've put on the walls to help their cause. And I think that is just something that is not you don't find that everywhere. I've actually gone to a lot of places and tried to put my ideas at different venues, and I've been turned down many times. So I always find myself like continuing to be at Madison Theater and Madison Live because they trust me. And I was an intern there. I've been there 10 years, and I'm part of that family. But man, like I've tried to put shows elsewhere because I wanted to have a show on this night and the night at the same time. I wanted to simultaneous I had it all running. They weren't that far apart, and I was like, where are we going to put it? And places after place, there's a place. Nah, man, we don't do that kind of stuff. We don't want the metal. We don't want this. We don't want this. I'll find a place. But with us, we're open to everyone. I don't care what walk of life you come in. When you come to Native, you're part of us. Like, let's come in. Let's work. Tell us what you're doing. How can we help? Where can we think on this? We've got a lot of experience. Let's make magic. Let's do it. And I love it about this store. I love that we've built it this way because someone like myself would come in here and be like, hey, I could do this and this and this. Here, let's talk about it. Tell me your idea. Let's put a pen to paper. Let's go. Or on your notes on your phone. That's what I use. But like, let's do it. We're not turning you away. Come on. And it gets them coming back a lot where people get really comfortable here. They get really comfortable here, which for better or worse, sometimes it is what it is, but they get really comfortable. But the fact that so many people get comfortable here is enough in itself that tells me we're doing something right. Because comfortability is a hard thing for people. I met a lot of people that are introverts like yourself, like you said, and they come in here and they feel open. And that is that's a win to me. That's a win every single day. So I'm here for that because, man, we live in a really hard world where a lot of people are willing to say no way before they're willing to say yes. Yeah. And yeah, I'm here for the yeses. So
well, that's hospitality.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like you guys are in the hospitality business as well, and that's, it shows.
Yeah. It's within the nature of who we are, I think, and that's because I want that opportunity. If I came to the store and I saw it and I was like thinking how I think, I'd be like, hey, like this is a place that I could do so many cool things with. And I know there's other people out there thinking that way. I know they exist. So if you hear this, come into the store and let's hear your ideas because we're ready to make some stuff happen. And this one festival will come and it'll eventually go. And then the next festival will come and the next one will go. And we're going to keep churning things. But you can come in and bring a new idea, a new light to the table, and we can make it, we can execute it because execution is a huge portion. An idea is just an idea until you put it down onto that pavement and you make it happen. You put the team together, you put everything in its place, and then you just get the people to come. You promote it, and if you build something, people will come. And if you build quality, people will come, and they'll also contribute. They'll come back and they'll contribute because people want to be a part of quality. They don't want things half-assed, like you said earlier. I don't half-ass anything. I put everything in. That's why I say when I get there, I'm putting my stamp on it, regardless of what that is. I'm gonna put my all into it because that's just who I am. I don't know any other way to do it. I don't know I don't know how else to whatever. Because to me it's like, well, whatever. I'm like, well, I'm not. If I'm all whatever, I don't even want to be there in the first place because I'm like a passion first person. So why all whatever is like, all right, well, someone else is probably better fit to do that than myself. So that's where I stand, and I feel like Jay stands the same way. And that works for us. And other people are like that. They just either haven't found us or they're afraid to speak up. So speak up because we're here to listen. Yep. For real, man. Really are. So, yeah. But on that note, we haven't talked about any of... I mean, we got this list over here. I think
we pretty much hit everything just on the...
Yeah.
You got handwriting of a doctor, by the way.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. I type way too much.
So on that note, I was just saying, what is next? Because I just said the next. So what is next for you after this festival? Because you said you're not nervous now because a month ago you were stressed. So what are you stressed out now?
I think once I start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and I start seeing it come together, and us having some success, it's I have the bad habit of signing on for a couple more projects.
Yeah.
And
bad habit. Yeah.
It's a bad habit, right? So,
yeah.
I think you're going to see a successful Voices of America Country Music Fest, and you're going to see that evolve next year with what we release and
Absolutely.
our lineup. It's going to be exciting. And then there's a couple other things that we've signed on for downtown
Okay.
that I think is going to be cool. And Vintage is going to be an awesome place once we get that open, once we get that going.
When is that? Do you have it?
That's going to be
March.
March 24.
March 24th.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cool too with that part of downtown because we already have Bar Roo down there, and now we're gonna have Vintage, and then you have Mitas, and you have Tokyo Kitty, and you have New Rubies, and the Fountain Square. So that's exciting. So our goal with my hospitality group is just to have those concepts that people think about when they think of live music. If you want to think of a great country bar, go to Lori's Roadhouse. If you want to go to a great country music festival in the summer, VOA. Sushi, Bar Roo. That great sports bar / just communal gathering space. That's Vintage.
Okay.
So that's what we want to do is just have those concepts that maybe they're really kind of out there and they're a little bit different, but people identify them with what they want to do in that field.
I don't even think different is not bad at all. Different is what we're looking for now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Jay
Especially
just
this day and age.
Yeah, Jay just got back from visiting his mom in Arizona, but he also got to go to Meow Wolf in Vegas, and they live in different. They live in the world of different, other world, if you will. They live in different, and it is the most popular thing on the planet to live in different because everyone is in this box that society kind of puts them. But really, everyone is like, oh, but my search history and my stuff I look on the internet is not what society says is normal, but that's what we're given. People like the different things. They want to find areas where they can find people that are listening to sports and watch live music. So you can watch sports and live music in certain places. I've done that before. I've had sports on the screen while a band was playing. So I've done that because that's what I'm into. But I don't think everyone sits in the box. Just like the idea that people's playlists on their phone on Spotify, it's not just one artist anymore. Now you've got your list of artists is just everyone. There's no one artist anymore, one album. It's my playlist. It's basically my theory with DJ Khaled. I think DJ Khaled is a walking playlist. I think that is his purpose. His purpose is to bring all the artists to his world, and you can find everyone through DJ Khaled stuff. And it's an easy one place to go, and they just put a person as the playlist. So everyone's going for multiple things now. So where you're at is hitting all these different marks. You mentioned sushi. So that's a totally different than a sports bar. That's different than line dancing, which you just mentioned earlier, which you said all those people are line dancing, which you mentioned all those people dancing earlier. They're probably all line dancing right now out in Westchester. So that's cool. That's what I would expect a city like this to have. So
my favorite line when we're getting ready to do a project or we're doing research into something is when somebody goes, "You can't do that."
Huh.
Yep, can't do that there. They won't do that. Nobody's going to come. That's where I'm like, let's give it a shot.
Watch me.
Yeah.
Right? Let's give it a shot. And I mean, that we did that with Lori's Roadhouse, right? It's everybody goes, it's not downtown. Nobody's going to go watch a show out there. I'm like, let's give it a shot. And we did pretty well.
Yeah.
Bar Roo, I remember when we looked at that space, everybody's like, can't be on that side of town. It's doing pretty well. It's doing pretty good. And the only way we're able to do that is from our guests, right? From getting them in there, like you said, making them feel comfortable, giving them something that they want to come back for.
Absolutely.
And that's our goal with my group is to provide those memorable experiences for both our team, because I think it's important that they want to come to work, they want to do these things, and then also our guests, right? And sometimes it's cool to take somebody who's on our team, they graduate to a guest, which is awesome, right?
That's
then they come
cool.
back and see you. So that's our goal, and that's what's next for us is to keep on getting the guests wanting to come back.
That is cool. And the mentality is literally huge. The way you think about it, just is, and so calm with it is inspiring because you're it's gonna work because you've seen it time and time again. You've got enough experience under your belt clearly, and you're ready to take on another big project. I mean, a music festival of this magnitude is a pretty enormous project. So I'm excited to see what you pump out next.
Dude,
and if we can help, I'd love to help. I've got enough experience myself to do a little bit of something. So
you know what's crazy, man, is the fact that you're not opening up another Bar Roo, right? You're not opening up another Lori's Roadhouse. It's not like that. What is it, like true
chain restaurants?
Well, yeah, just like like this one worked well, so now we're going to open up a second one. Like you know, what you're doing, bro, is really it's it's not as easy as opening a second pizza restaurant, right? Because you're opening up a sushi place, so the food comes from somewhere completely different than it does from here, you know. And then Lori's Roadhouse has the country vibe, so that's completely different from this one. And it's like, you know, that's really impressive, man. That you're not just doubling down on one idea, you're doing a bunch of them, right? And creating, you're still creating that longevity by opening up different caveats of you know not events but experiences, you
Yeah.
know. And that's the big thing, man. It's like it's easy for somebody to open up a pizza restaurant, do well, and say, oh, I'm gonna open up a second one in Crestview Hills,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But for you to go, okay, this did well, let's try sushi. You know what I mean? Sushi did well, let's try a sports bar. Like,
Yeah.
bro, like, do you understand how fucking amazing that is? Like, think about that. Think about, like, the fact that you're just not replicating one idea
Yeah, you're
over
not-
and over. You're going, this idea did real well. There's a new idea that I've got. Let's do this.
That's
We
cool.
we did sushi. Now let's do pizza. We did that. Let's do burgers. You know what I mean? Like, you're really just like harnessing everything and bringing it all under one umbrella where, you know, if they know your staff, they know they're going to get good treatment, right? They know that hey, this is Tyler's place. It's going to be the staff at Lori's Roadhouse is going to be just as dope as the staff at Baru, you know, because you train everybody the same way, but you train them under different caveats where, you know, this one does sushi, this one that's amazing to me,
It is,
dude.
yeah.
That you're just not doubling down on one idea. You're like, I've got 5 of them and I want to double down on each one of them.
Well, I think when you take the creative process of doing something, I know with Baru, I signed that lease right around the same time I was working on the music festival. So-
Which is crazy because you're
It was-
signing the vintage thing as you're trying to do the festival as
Right.
well.
We got some bad habits there, right? So they keep
Yeah.
on repeating.
Yeah.
So we were doing Baru, and I had one chef signed on. He didn't end up taking the job. He ended up moving. I got really fortunate that a good friend of mine out of Nashville, Robert Grace, who's the chef, we call him Bob, but I always like introduce him as like his cool name, Robert.
Sure.
But he ended up coming on, and he goes, "Who's going to design the restaurant?" Like, I think I'm going to do it. And he's like, "What's it going to look like?" I'm like, "I don't know." You know. So we started going through that process, and you know, I was drawing it up with the architect. I wasn't even an architect. It was a friend of mine who works for an architectural firm, and then we had an architect stamp the prints. So we're going through it, and we did one design, and we didn't like it, and then we did another one, and we were trying to figure out, okay, we have an idea. We want to call it Baru. Want it to be really bar focused, but very, you know, very culinary driven as well, but also to where, you know, we're gonna have lots of drinks. So we're putting all these pieces in there, and I'm like, well, I don't like the way it looks. So then I'm talking to our branding firm, Durham, about some things we could do, and we decided we were gonna do giant birds on the wall. And I was like, well, let's make them big, so let's do 18-foot giant birds. And so we were looking at the walls, and I'm like, what the fuck do those birds have to do with anything?
Right.
So then I don't know how it came about, but we decided to go with tigers. So we have these giant tigers in Baru, right? And then we're going through the process, and we're ordering furniture, and things are showing up late, and it's crazy. So
As usual.
as usual,
Yeah.
right? And we pull down the tape off the windows, and I was like, holy shit, this place looks pretty good. And then a couple of people told me it looked good. So then I'm like, all right, I think we're done. And my friend that does lighting designs goes, hey, I just came up with this new kinetic light system from China.
Oh shit.
It's going to be lights on winches that go up and down and change color. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. Where do you want to put them? He goes, Baru. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, I don't know.
Interesting,
Well,
okay.
all right, let's do it. You know, so we add to it, and it was a very abstract design process. And you get it all done, and then you kind of sit around and you're watching, and somebody walks up to you and they're like, I really like this. And you're like, well, that's cool. And then maybe you get, you know, a food reviewer call you and say, hey, you guys want to be in this magazine? And you're like, oh shit, is it bad? No, it's good, you know. So I think our group and a lot of the people who work on my team, they kind of share that that passion for those tough projects, and to where we all kind of have that fear of not wanting to fail.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. You need to come at that with the humility to you can fail and things are fragile, and we look at our projects like that. But I think that's why when you accomplish those things, they're a little more special, because you're like, all right, we did it. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have the same thing with merchandise, where you guys do that design, and the ones that were the hardest, you look at and you're like, we did that.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool. That's what makes it special.
Yeah. The ones you would never expect to go far, go the furthest, and then the ones you want to do, you expect to do the greatest, you're like, and it's still sitting, you're like, how is that even sitting here still? And then the other one's like, oh, well, I just want this design. I'm like, oh, well, that one, all right, cool. You don't even know what people are going to want. Like, he comes out with so many different designs, and you never know what's going to stick against the wall, and one's going to flop right off, and we find a way to make it work either way. But, like, it's just hard to predict human behavior. It's hard to predict what's going to work and what's not going to work. And, I mean, but we also, in the mentality of, like, on to the next, and you just keep it pushing because, yeah, you have to. You got to keep it pushing. And, like, all these people that come through here, this is kind of busy tonight.
Bro, when I left,
it is good to see.
so I left the other Friday when you had the event. I didn't leave here until like 11:30,
Yeah.
and I'm looking around going, we should still be open, bro. There was so many people down here at midnight on Friday.
Why do you think I'm open late Saturdays?
Yeah.
I literally I'm contemplating, like, to close the door. Do I leave now? Because I'm like, not a time sensitive thing to leave after work. I'm like, I'll stay half an hour, and I'll get those half an hour sales from just the movie theater.
The movie
alone.
theater. That's the thing, bro.
Yeah.
It's like we'll sit here, like, we'll be open till 10, and he'll stay open till 11, but there'll be a 5-minute mark where 20 people come through, and then it's back to being completely dead again. So it's like
that 11 o'clock mark. That's like 10:30 really is that peak, and then at 10:30 to 11, I might get a person or two, but 10:30 for some reason, that half an hour mark, where I guess the movie theater has it set that way, groups of people coming down, and we're the only one open. So
I mean, you remember how it was when we were younger, coming down to the levee, bro. Like,
It was wild.
yeah, like after the movies, like, you don't want to go home, so like Bar Louie was open, so you would always go to Bar Louie for one extra drink, because you don't want the date to end, especially if you're out on a date, you don't want to fucking just end it and go home. So now you're walking around, and if there's places to shop, especially something like this where after the movie you can come in, and then all of a sudden you find the hidden room, you're gonna. Those are things you talk about for sure.
Forever with whoever you went with, like, it's pretty much creating the moment that you guys can hold on to, and we're open for it because, like, I mean, I'm here, and people wander in like, we just got to watch the movie, like, everything's closed. Why is everything closed? And they always ask that question.
They didn't want to wait for you. They didn't want to wait.
They didn't want to wait for you, but here I am.
Mm-hmm.
I've got plenty of shirts and hats.
The one thing I was glad that survived COVID was movie theaters.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a
loved it.
scary moment, bro.
Yeah.
I loved it when they came back. I used to have to travel a lot for work, and I'm on projects by myself, and you can only go out and have drinks, so many nights, and be somewhat normal.
Right.
So a lot of times on my off night, I was always going to see a movie. Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just, I think it's the best experience. You have to shut your phone off. You get to focus, and you're in that story.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting what you said about people coming in the store
All right, bro.
that have never been here is being welcomed, right?
For
Yeah.
sure.
And when you come in a store like this, like you guys have cutting edge products, it's cool, it's edgy, and sometimes you come in and it's just like too cool for people, right? And they don't feel welcome, and they feel like they're going to be out of place. And
Yeah.
having somebody be like, "Hey man, what's up?
Yeah.
What can we do for you?"
What's up?
And
Talk to them.
yeah, and you get to talk to them and they introduce themselves. That's what people want, man.
Yeah.
That's it, man. It's just that quick. Hey, I know there's a lot on the walls. If you have any questions, like, there's a lot to take in, especially because during the daytime, like the crowds that we get here from 11 to 3, it's moms with kids, right? Because it's all aquarium. And then nighttime, it's all adults in the movies, and then in the middle of it, it's nothing but kids. So it's like, we got to accommodate across the board. So in the morning times when these people come in, they're literally from Texas, and they're here for the Noah's Ark.
The Ark. Yeah.
Like three days a week, we get a bus that just drops these old people off down here, and they got nothing to do for 2 hours but to walk around. So, we try to, it's never about buying clothes, man. It's always about, where are you from? Have you ever been down here? Like, this is like, we call this interactive retail because we want it to be more than just a clothing store, right? It's like we want you to have an experience here, whether you buy something or not. So that's always been like our motto here, and it's especially with being on the levee. It's like our demographic is across the board, man. 12-year-olds to 70-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's almost a gift and a curse because if we were in Kenwood, we would have one demographic, right? But being here at Newport on the Levee, we get Dayton, we get Lexington, we get Columbus, Louisville, Indianapolis every day. So for us, like, if we do the native 317 shirts, like, people from Indy can come in, buy it, and then they're going back to Indianapolis, and we're branching the brand out laterally without doing any work in Indy, or Louisville or Columbus. So
had someone come in this last week from Switzerland.
Yeah,
he came in.
yeah.
He's on a work visa. He's here for like 2 or 3 more weeks, I think. And he bought 2 hats for him, one for him and one for his son to take back to Switzerland. So he's like, I won't be there here long. I would like to come back to Cincinnati, but I gotta go back. I want to be here.
Is that your Switzerland accent?
I don't know what it is.
You murdered that.
He
bro.
was thick. I couldn't really understand everything he was saying. I just know he was speaking fast, and I was like trying to catch what he was saying. His English was very spotty, but he was like, "This store is the coolest store I've ever seen. That's all I know." And I was like, "That's very cool because you're seeing
from
all
across
sorts
the pond,
across
bro."
the pond." He said he'd been to a few places in the United States, and this was the first time Cincinnati. He's like, "I didn't know Cincinnati was such a happening spot," is what he said. And I'm like, "It is." And he's like, "You would never know because no one talks about Cincinnati." And I'm like, "They
Not
don't
yet.
No, not yet." But and from his perspective, it was like this place was like nothing until all of a sudden he's like, this seems like a central place. He's like, I've been to New York and it has a very similar vibe of a central location. And I was like, that's cool to know. That's cool because his perspective is totally like fresh. So
I think the answer to that is why not, right?
Right.
And that's what I said about the music festival was people's like, well, you can't do that. You can't do a music festival out there. Why not? Why can't you guys do this here? Why can't we do more in Cincinnati? And I think the more we challenge that norm, the more we're going to see things grow and the more cool things are going to happen.
For sure.
Yeah.
Strength in numbers, man.
Yeah.
Why
not?
With you being
It's a
able
cool
to
shirt.
team
That's right.
into.
Cool. Why not? Got milk, but why not?
Right.
It's cool. Yeah.
Just being able to like team up with as many people as you're doing, man. Like I said, like, you coming to our booth and asking us to be a part of it, like, that was huge, bro, because I wouldn't have reached out to you just because I didn't know if we were even on the radar. So you got us involved. Now we're pushing the event every couple of days. We're posting it and talking about it and telling everybody about it. And we'll actually, I want to get some posters in here as well, at least to advertise what musicians are going to be down there, because we're on the Kentucky part of the water, bro. So this is the countryside. So if we can have a list, and if we got some Dan and Shay fans that are coming through the store or we're walking through the levee and they see the poster on the wall, anything we can do to help you out, man. I want this thing to be a huge success, and I want next year's to be even bigger. Obviously. And it's all on the table, bro. Like you're doing so well at what you're doing. Just keep at it. Just stay focused, and stay true to you, bro. Because you're such a humble human being, man. Like I've talked about it on the podcast before, but like I feel like I can feel people's auras, right? Like there's people that the second I see them, I keep them at arm's distance. And then there's some people that I'll put right in the basket, bro. And you're one of those people that just goes right in the basket. You know what I mean? Like, even I remember meeting you down at Mint a lifetime ago, bro. And it like that moment still stuck with me. And I've met a lot of people in my time, man. So how you carry yourself and how you handle yourself and handle your business, it goes way further than you realize, because even though this is just a conversation, it's we're analyzing and we're trying to figure everybody out, bro. So when I see what you're doing, I'm nothing but thankful that you're letting us be a part of it, and I'm also jealous that I don't have that mind capacity that you do right now, because you're in the middle of throwing the biggest country music fest of Cincinnati's history, in the middle of going ahead and doubling down and renting your next spot for your restaurant, for your bar. That's something that's it takes a certain character to be able to walk up the stair, down the stair, up the stair, down the stair. Like you're literally you're implementing everything all at one time, and you're juggling and you're juggling well.
Different mind frames, and each one's a different mind frame. You know what I mean? Like he's got
a square ball, a circle, and a triangle.
Seriously.
And you're juggling that shit.
On a smaller scale, for me, it's the same. Like when I'm booking a show, I was working my birthday bash, and then I'm also working on another event that I'm gonna start doing a residency, if you will, a monthly thing. And I come in here and make creative decisions on business and everything in here at the same time. So like I'm kind of doing a smaller scale juggling, but like that mental frame changes when I come in these doors. I'm like, all right, well, here's everything I was thinking about in my car driving here on the way is document my notes, and we're going to go on to native mentality. Yep. Let's get that done.
Throw a different hat on.
It's just kind of where I'm at, and I like doing that because it keeps my day-to-day fresh. My days blend through. Like Wednesday morning, I'll have Charlie, and me and her will do our morning routine, do our thing, and then I'll get back to the headspace. Like it's kind of like I kind of go step by step, and it's really fresh. It's a really nice feeling for me. I enjoy it, even in the stress. Even with the stress, it's just that changeover is really like it gives me a chance to reset, and then I can go back and think. I'm like, oh, I wasn't thinking about this before because I was focused on native for the last 5 hours. I'm so glad I took that time away from my headspace on putting the show on. And it does help too. Well, I'm sure you have similar experiences, because when you come back to thinking, you're like, maybe another project reminds you to do something for a different project. And that helps with me a lot, because I'll be like, oh, so glad. Native's doing that. I can implement that with this. That's cool. Twist it, make it a different color, and let's go. You know what I mean? So,
well, one, I appreciate you guys having me down, but also two, I think we don't always put ourselves in the lens of others, right? So,
yeah.
You guys were saying, hey, you're doing this music festival and there's a lot going on. You're glad to be involved. But from my side of things, I was looking at you guys and the Native brand as I've seen people in those T-shirts. It's a great staple Cincinnati clothing line. You guys are, a lifestyle brand in itself. I wanted to get involved with you all, so it's cool to be able to, you don't know what's on the other side, right?
For
so,
sure.
And when you make those steps and you meet people and you get to know them, that's a process,
Always.
Right? And it's just something I think we all got to just keep on working it, right? Like keep on working those steps of getting to know people and putting yourself out there and being a part of the community.
100%, man. Again, strength in numbers, bro. The more people that you can get on board, just shake hands and kiss babies, man. Not everyone's gonna be down with what your project is, but the more hands you shake and the more babies you kiss, you're gonna find that the more people are on your side than you realize. When we're here, bro, in the store, we get people, like no joke, over 100 times a month we get, this is the coolest clothing store I've ever seen in my entire life.
All the time.
And every single time, I make sure I look at them in the eye and tell them thank you. That means a lot, man, because we're like I said earlier, we get the blinders on, bro. We're trying to keep the lights on. So when somebody comes and says, this is the coolest place I've ever seen in my entire life, it's like, thank you, bro, because I'm fighting for my meal still. You know what I mean? Like we're in the trenches just trying to mix up the next batch. You know what I mean?
And they don't have to say that.
No.
They're not required to say it's the coolest clothing store too. It's like
that's something you hold close to your chest. You just don't go say that to every store.
Yeah, you don't just say, I don't know if I've ever walked into a store and say this is the coolest clothing store. I know there's a store we occasionally, we go on vacation every year. We go to different places, but we're Orange Beach, Alabama. There's this glasses store called Shades, and at this place called the Wharf. there's a Ferris wheel and a bunch of stuff there. But in Shades, they bring their dogs in. Their dogs are there every day, a bunch of dogs. Just it's a glasses store, clothing. It's got everything you would ever have, but there's dogs, and they're just part of the culture. And they just sit on the bench and they just hang out and people take pictures with them. And every time I've been there, these dogs are there, and a bunch of them. I mean, there's one time there's 5 dogs that went there. And they just have these dogs, and I was like, that's so cool. But it's just a sunglass store that's selling knickknacks and different things, and they also offer alcohol. So you drink for free as you hang out there. They have these chillers, and they can just walk around and drink and hang out with their dogs. But it's just a glasses store. So just that catches my eye, and my whole family, they all want to go back to Shades every time.
Yeah, you're talking about it on a podcast right now, so that we never talked about Sunglass Hut.
Right.
That's right.
Exactly. All because of these dogs in this Shades store.
Yeah.
But it made a memorable experience. You're going to remember it. You're going to talk about it. You're going to tell somebody.
Yeah. Right.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool. It was really cool. I was really impressed with it. I was like, and the dogs are so calm. And even if they're not, they're like, oh, we have leashes. They can hang out. You can bring your guys' dogs down. Bring them on in. I'm like, you guys are just so cool people. They're selling sunglasses and women's apparel. That's what they do. And it's just different. And I remember it. And I'll never forget it. And now I'm looking forward to go back the next time. And it's just one spot on this planet Earth. And it's cool to me to think that other people are out there being open-minded. I think that's the biggest thing. They're open-minded. They're like, we can do different. We can be the same and sell the same product that, we can sell Ray-Bans. But next to the Ray-Bans is a puppy chow sitting right there on the ground with the dogs hanging out. Come on now. And that is different. And I'm here to think different, do different, and I'm here for all of that mentality, because you got one life on this world, so you should make the most of it and do what fits you best and make the most of your life. And if that's what that is, they've made an impact on mine, and they don't even realize it. They don't know I'm talking about it. No. It's cool.
Well said, brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
Like I said, I appreciate you guys having me come down, and hopefully we can all keep on making memorable experiences.
100%, man. So if somebody wants to buy the GA tickets, is it can they buy just a Thursday pass, a Friday pass, a Saturday pass, a Sunday pass?
We wanted to make the event accessible to everybody, whether they wanted to come all 4 days or they wanted to buy a single day.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still get all the tickets available online. Just go to the website, pick whatever suits you best. And
what's the website?
VOA CountryMusicFest.com.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. So you said you can get a 4-day pass for it too. Is there? Trying to think if there's any hotels around that.
There are.
Have you talked to any of the hotels about trying to offer discounts or anything?
We have. So we worked with a third party called Crew Fair, and you can actually go on our website and book your hotel right with your ticket.
Oh, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
See,
we wanted to make it easy for the consumer to where you can buy a music festival pass, you can book your hotel room, and get parking all in one transaction.
Dude, I's dotted and T's crossed, bro. See, that's the thing, man. That's not you're creating the experience, or you're making it easy for them on the front half, so that they can just enjoy the time on the back half. And then next year, it's gonna be even more seamless, right? Because you're gonna understand what works and what doesn't, and I'm here for it, bro. I'm super thankful that you're even able to come down here today. But for asking us to be a part of it is huge. I love you for it, man. I'm gonna be indebted to you forever, bro. Because I'm here to work with relationships, right? I'm an aura guy. I like the vibes that some people bring, and anything that I can do to help you out, bro. I'm 100% here for it.
Brothers, I appreciate it.
Same.
And, we'll come down after the music festival, and we'll talk about how it all went.
Do a recap.
Absolutely.
Do a recap. Yeah, man.
All right. So if anybody wants to come down to the music fest, it's a 4-day event. Starts on Thursday, goes all the way till Sunday. You can buy a GA pass for all 4 days, or you can buy single passes. VOA CountryMusicFest.com.
That's it.
All right, man. So we've got Tyler over here. Tyler, I appreciate you, bro. Like I said, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Anything we can do, man. If there's any ideas that you want to throw or anything that you want to put on these walls for the last 3 weeks before the event comes up, the glass is yours.
Well, I appreciate it, and you'll see me at the music festival wearing a native hat. So.
Hey, and I'm gonna make sure that you get the very first T-shirt when we get them printed as well.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, this is gonna wrap up another episode of the PowWow. So I appreciate you guys. Liquid Death, thank you for sponsoring the podcast. If you guys want to get on
Put
the podcast,
that can back up, bro. There you are.
Hey, there it is.
Hey, Liquid Death.
Best
Shout
water
out.
inside metal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's popular, man. People are buying like crazy.
It is, bro.
Three or four cans at a time. How many gas stations do people go and buy 3 or 4 waters? And this is for a bunch of people to work with.
Right.
People come in and buy like, I need 3 or 4 of those. And I'm like, all right, okay, man, here you go. Like,
and before we end the podcast, the fact that parents are complaining about them changing the
molecular structure.
Thank you.
I got you.
By calling it Liquid Death is mind blowing, bro. You know what I mean? Like if you can get your 10-year-old to drink water, if it has to come out of a dog bowl,
yeah, right.
Let him drink water, bro.
Yeah.
Like it blows my mind that they're okay with him drinking Prime.
Yeah.
300 milligrams caffeine. That's 6 cans of Coke in one bottle. They're cool with that, but nah, Liquid Death's got issues.
Yeah. And it looks like a Miller Lite can. I always hear that. I'm like, no, it is it's cool design work. It's not Miller Lite.
Bro,
it's a skull on it. Come on now.
Oh my God, bro. Tall kid. Instead of tall boys.
Oh, a tall kid. Oh, that's a great idea.
Tall kids.
That's great.
Let's go.
Yeah,
all right, man. It's going to wrap up another episode of the PowWow. Going to get home to the wifey.
Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
See you next week on another episode of the PowWow. We're out of here.
Bye.
Yeah, bro.
Guys, that was awesome.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.